got that song for Drive, and then we're like, well, we can't use it in the Sully movie because Sully movie was after Drive, right? We're like,
Can
well,
you
we can't
imagine
use it in the
sitting
Sully
Clint
movie,
Eastwood
'cause Sully
down
movie
and
was after
going,
Drive.
okay, now Clint, I know
you imagine
your
sitting
general
Clint
vibe is like you strumming a guitar and crooning slowly, but I think synths are the new Clint.
What if in the Mule you wore a cool jacket with a scorpion on the back? How would you feel about that?
What if you had driving gloves? What if when you got into your pickup truck, you put on driving gloves?
Just putting that out there.
Yeah.
These are just our studio notes.
Yeah, these are. Clint, you can take them, you can leave them. It's up to you. But what if instead of you in Gran Torino, it was Ryan Gosling? Again, take it. You can take it. You can leave it. But
I mean, I do love the idea that the studio note is quite literally the Spider-Man thing of like, can he be into EDM?
yeah,
It's like juror number 2. We like it. Nicholas Hoult is so hot right now. Can he be into skateboarding, tagging, and EDM?
You know what? Here's my hot take. Let's make Peter Parker cool.
what's Peter Parker's defining trait? Oh, everyman, not very cool. Well, what if we made him cool?
What if we just like made him really cool?
Yeah.
And hear us out here. Yeah. What if he was socially acceptable?
Yeah. Welcome.
Hello, everybody.
Also,
I think.
welcome everyone. I think we're live. We just went in. We started talking about. We didn't have an ad to run or anything. This isn't even a real stream. I don't even know this isn't even a legal stream. No, we're here.
It's not legal.
No, it is. I keep saying
the cops are coming.
I keep using the word legal to describe things, and people keep calling me out on it, and I don't know why. But welcome everyone. Marty here with Darren and Jack, and we honestly I just wanted to hang out with you guys and play some games, and so we're gonna play an old LucasArts Super Nintendo game called Zombies Ate My Neighbors, which is tangentially related to movies, and the game is also really hard. So if at any point I feel like it's getting too hard, I have a bunch of other things loaded up. So, including like spooky levels from games, and so I have things loaded up. Don't you worry. Welcome everyone in the chats. Let me know how the volumes are. My levels look good, but I also don't know what I'm doing. So
noise.
Just let me know how things. Yeah, just let me know how things are going, and I'll fix it. Should we play as Zeke or Julie?
Oh, I mean, I think Zeke is the more classic of the characters. Look at that haircut. Look at those 3D glasses.
The 3D glasses. The 3D glasses are, I think, what clinches.
What? Why are we wearing 3D glasses in a 3D world? Does that make it 60?
In a 2D world, I think. Is it a 3D world? I've never played this game before, but it looks very 2D.
Okay. It is. So we're gonna see.
Okay, all right.
It's probably like that 2.5D. What they call it?
Yeah, a little top down.
It's on a slope.
Personifying Zeke, assuming that in Zeke's eyes, it's a 3D world.
Yeah. So the whole
also because it's got a bit of a retro. Did you just collect a cheerleader?
I did. So you run around. You run around these levels. And you need to collect the humans before the various critters can kill them. Yeah. And once all of them have either been saved or killed, you open up a doorway to the next level.
All right. Then.
And as I was telling Darren before,
how come a cheerleader is worth 1,000 and a baby's only worth 700?
Well, because you don't know what this baby's going to grow up.
We know the answer to that.
Well, the baby, baby is like that's like a real like 50-50 shot of like, oh, they could grow up to cure cancer, or they could like, grow up
be
to
Hitler.
Yeah, grow up to be a little baby Hitler. No one likes baby Hitler.
Exactly.
I see 1,000 for the cheerleaders, 700 for the babies.
Yeah. That was probably a George Lucas note. This was a LucasArts game, so George Lucas probably came in while he was like fiddling with the special editions. He was like, what if we make the cheerleaders worth 1,000? And then he left. That's actually true behind the scenes story.
Another genius idea.
Here's what I think. Hear me out here.
Let's buy
we just make the cheerleaders worth more money, and maybe add a little humor to it.
What if
it
actually
a very
farts on
good
Jar Jar?
George Lucas.
That was actually really good, George Lucas. Have you worked
That's
that out?
a really good.
All it is Kermit the Frog without any modulation.
Oh my God. That's kind of perfect.
Kermit the Frog is, like this, and it has some ups and downs, some modulation, and if you take away the modulation, it just turns into George Lucas.
That's really impressive.
Incredible.
That's really impressive. How much do we think this guy lounging in the pool worth a lot, worth a little?
I figure he's worth a little.
Oh, maybe as much as the cheerleader.
Yeah, there you go. It's
only 100 buckaroonies. Not even worth your time. Get out of here. The cheerleader's the real score.
F- is a real grade. Darren, I needed to ask you, obviously, the pressing issue as the world's foremost Christopher Nolan scholar. have you seen the news / the rumors, and what do you think about the news / the rumors?
Which news / rumors? Because there have been like 5 of them. So
So-
either he is making a movie about an attack helicopter based on what's the name of it? Blue Thunder
Blue
from
Thunder.
the 1980s,
Blue Thunder.
which I kind of love.
I love that. Yeah.
Or he's doing his remake of The Prisoner, which he's been threatening to do for years.
Don't threaten me.
Or he's making a vampire movie
Set in the
set
20s.
in the 1920s,
Yeah.
starring Matt Damon and Tom Holland, which sounds suspiciously similar to both Nosferatu coming out from Robert Eggers and Sinners, which is coming out from Ryan Coogler, Michael B. Jordan.
So is that just...
2 Michael B. Jordans.
Yeah. Well, there's Michael B. Jordan and Michael C. Jordan. It's actually
Yeah.
2 separate people. I don't know if you do.
Now I'm convinced that it's going to be a vampire movie just because Nolan wants to get in with the cool kids.
What if... Okay,
I am
Nolan's
hip
one of
with
the
it.
cool kids. He doesn't have to get in with the cool kids.
I've won an Oscar, now I want the MTV Movie Award. Like, that's what I'm coming for next.
Best kiss.
Severely not one of the cool kids. I want to say, like, yeah, as much as I respect him as a director, I cannot buy that he is a cool kid.
He
Have
wears
you
scarves.
not seen him dance with Brittany Murphy at the 2002 MTV Movie Awards?
Oh.
It's one of the great videos.
How awkward
it is-
must that have been? He doesn't want to dance.
It's as precisely as unpleasant as you imagine it is. He's nodding his head in what can vaguely be described as rhythm.
But yeah,
While Brittany Murphy is having the best time in front
I
of him.
believe the Matt Damon and Tom Holland portions of that have been confirmed, I believe. Or at least like Hollywood Reporter is confirming them. So it's like reliable. Whereas the actual plot of the movie is still very much hearsay, up in the air stuff. You know what? I'm glad Tom Holland is he gets a chance. We can all like figure out if he's actually a good actor or not.
I mean, he is a good actor, like Lost City of Zed and stuff.
That
like
was
Lost City of Z to
when
the
he works
American
with,
audiences.
Thank you so much for translating that for us. That was really kind of you. But yeah, I mean, I guess what if he isn't working with the Russo brothers? What if he's not making?
That's it
Cherry?
exactly. What if he's with a director whose greatest innovation isn't what if we put a camera in your asshole?
Yeah.
Like that's what we aspire towards. But like I do think Holland is good. I'm still waiting for Mr. Holland's opus.
That's my go-to. That's my go-to
Yeah.
schmaltzy movie.
You do love that.
Mr. Holland's opus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quite rightly, it's a good movie.
Was that Richard Dreyfuss?
Yeah.
Richard Dreyfuss. Who plays the mom in that? I love her. Oh my lord.
Catherine
Hold on.
Keener. No, I don't.
Catherine,
I don't, know.
I
That
don't
was
believe that's true.
That was a.
Okay.
was a
That's
reach.
it seems a bit early for Catherine Keener to be in mom roles.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm sorry. Glenn Headley.
That doesn't.
Wow. She died terribly young, if I remember, in her 50s, right?
Oh.
That's
I thought
no,
you were just
that
going to
may be something
say
to
she
check in the
died
fact machine, to be
terribly,
fair.
and I was like, Jesus.
What?
I thought you were just
No,
going to say she died terribly, and I was like, oh no.
No, I think. Let me just double check this.
I don't
shouldn't say
even know who that
things.
is. That name doesn't even ring
She,
a bell.
she was 62 years old. So she was still relatively young. And I remember it just being a surprise because obviously she's such a fixture of like those great movies of the 80s and 90s, like
What
Dirty
else?
Rotten Scoundrels, for example. Dick
Oh,
Tracy.
okay. I know exactly who she is.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, she was the steady girl, the steady gal girlfriend in Dick Tracy.
Oh, she's a good
Yeah.
cop. She's a good
and
cop.
She was the bartender in The X-Files, the one celebrity cameo that movie had, which is my favorite detail.
Oh yeah.
Remember when you're like, I'm not sure if this person qualifies as a celebrity cameo, but sure, go for
Close
it.
enough. Yeah.
Absolutely does.
Yeah.
Absolutely does. We got a couple super chats here.
yeah.
First of all, thank you for the super chat. It says this is a bonus rewind. Absolutely, this is a bonus rewind.
Or a
I was on
pre-wind. This could be
jury
like
duty
a
last week.
pre-wind to next week.
What?
This could
Fast
be a
forward.
pre-wind to next week. Either this is like a post-wind of last week or a pre-wind to next week. Think about it.
Ooh, I'm gonna say pre-wind because that's not a word and I like it. But yes, we're just gonna. This is the whole stream. We're gonna jibber jabber about Glenn Headley and her
How was-
wonderful illustrious career.
How was
Marty is playing. by
How
the way.
was jury duty?
The most boring ever, but I got thanked so much.
Oh, well, you were doing your civic duty,
You
Jack.
were.
I showed up to do my civic duty. I did not have to do anything, and everyone was so appreciative. If only that could be every day. It was beautiful.
This is this
Can
might
we
be
ask about the particulars of it? So did you have to decide, or was it just a purely like we need to assemble a jury? So, no.
So the way it works is, hundreds of people get called in. This is for Milwaukee County, so a larger city here in Wisconsin, and they take you in groups of 36 to go to an actual trial, and then from that 36, they choose 13 jurors.
Ooh.
The 12 jurors and the one alternate.
Yeah.
All of day one, up until the last hour, I was twiddling my thumbs in the waiting room. I get called in to be a potential juror. And then right when the judge starts looking for people to dismiss, so the judge says stuff like, does anyone live in the area near where the crime has taken place? Does anyone know the defendant?
The victim, or
Right. That sort of stuff. The lawyers start passing notes, and he goes, okay, well, we need to take a little break. We'll call you back later. We didn't get called back. Came back the next day, and again, twiddled my thumbs all day and did nothing. So
Democracy Manifest.
That's the way that it works.
And I was there. I showed up. I could have been on. Apparently, there was a rather large trial happening that day. I didn't even potentially get a part of that, but there was a large, meaningful trial happening that day.
Love the idea of positioning yourself as a potential juror. You're like, oh no, I only do manslaughter or higher.
As an influencer.
First of all, I think I would be really good at being a juror.
Oh, I completely agree.
I would really like it.
Yeah.
I would be objective as fuck. That's the button I was wearing.
Objective as fuck.
Which is always very reassuring to lawyers. Nothing suspicious at all. It's do you have any biases that might prevent you from taking part? No, I am very eager to juror.
I am objective as fuck. Oh, I don't know anything about anything. I can be the perfect juror.
So apologies for my American
Call me
ignorance.
Randy because I'm objectivist as fuck.
Oh, that's good. That was a little later in.
Aimed at the truth.
So pardon my absolute American ignorance. Do Ireland and England have sort of like civilian juries on things like that?
We do indeed. Typically only for more significant and major crimes. The smaller crimes are typically handled by the judge rather than by a jury. I got called for jury duty once, but the problem is that because I'm registered to vote up where my parents live, and I have been a bad citizen and not changed it, I had to go down for 2 days, and as Jack said, you sit in a room and wait to get picked, and then explain that you live in Dublin, you live in another county 3 hours away. But it's the kind of thing I would have loved to have done.
Sure.
If it hadn't have meant that I would have had to upend my entire life in order to do it.
Yeah, just apart from that.
I'd be like, so is this one of those deals where we go to the Four Seasons and can order room service kind of thing,
Oh, is this a Pauly Shore movie? Absolutely.
Yeah.
One of the best Pauly Shore movies. Yeah.
That's saying something. He made Biodome.
Masterpiece that is.
A biological dome.
Honestly, I remember watching my older sister had a huge crush on Pauly Shore, so we had a glut of Pauly Shore movies. I've watched Biodome probably an unhealthy amount of times.
Hell yeah.
So I'm okay with
Hell yeah.
existing. Let's see here. Sir George Lucas, thank you for the highlighted message over in Twitch. The Walking Dead sucks, says George Lucas.
It does.
The TV show or the
comic, the TV, the Telltale game.
Well, I think. Granted, I haven't read a ton of the comic, but of the show and the game, both things I think were very good for a little while, and then outstayed their welcome.
Yes.
I like the first, the Darabont season of The Walking Dead, which is I think 8 episodes long, and then immediately in the second season when they fire him to save money, I was like, this is not as good anymore.
How could that? What could possibly go wrong?
Where they get stuck on the farm for all season.
I believe that's the farm season. Yeah.
Yeah, there's one where they're camping in a quarry, and it's you have to choose between, is it Andrew Lincoln and John Barenthal, and the show makes the wrong choice.
Yeah.
No offense to Andrew Lincoln.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it would have been a lot more interesting if we would have just followed Barenthal through the rest of that show.
Yeah, agreed.
I mean, probably not for Barenthal. I have it's probably better for culture that Barenthal is not on 17 seasons of The Walking Dead.
Yeah, and never be able to do Wolf of Wall
off.
Street, and
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. But yeah, I mean, there was some good stuff in there. I think that we talk a lot about TV pilots, specifically Lost. The pilot for Lost being one of the greatest TV pilots ever. The pilot episode of The Walking Dead, just a great zombie movie on its own.
Absolutely.
And very good at setting up the stakes and very good at conveying isolation. And I think at the time, because we're kind of spoiled now in the streaming age, but I think I remember it just looking gorgeous. I remember being how did you do that for television? This is the sort of scale that George Romero couldn't get for his zombie movies, but you can give me an empty cityscape, you know?
Beautiful stuff.
Because it's him riding the horse, isn't it? He rides the horse through, I don't know which city it is, but it's empty and abandoned.
I want to say it's
Atlanta, I think.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, it probably is Atlanta.
Yeah.
But it's there are hundreds of irate motorists just one row or avenue over. Yeah.
Just put this fucking horse causing me to be late for dinner.
This fucking horse.
What's the story Will Smith tells when they shut down a block and a half of Manhattan for I Am Legend? It's the motorists, they weren't particularly pleased. For a week and a half, I thought my name was Fuck You.
Absolutely. But art. That's the price we pay for art. Pure Pyro, thank you for the super chat over on YouTube. I watch Reanimator and Trick or Treat every year.
Oh, I love Trick or Treat.
I need to watch Reanimator. I'm such a blind spot for me as a big Jeffrey Combs fan.
Oh yeah,
that's a very big blind spot. Yeah.
And a Lovecraft fan as well, to be honest. But you want to be careful when you say a Lovecraft fan of his fiction, not his ideas.
Not a fan of his horror, but
yeah.
But I'm a Lovecraft fan.
I want to hear more about. Yeah. I'm Lovecraft curious.
Not so much his political ideals. I like his concept of existential dread. I really dig on that.
Yeah.
Agreed.
But yeah, a big fan of Lovecraft and as you said, the existential dread, the fear that knowing is insanity. So yeah, yes. I'm stunned that I have never gotten around to Reanimator. I need to get around to Reanimator.
Have you From Beyonded?
No, I don't.
Speaking
think
of
I have.
Jeffrey Combs and Lovecraftian horror.
Also, if you want to get out of a jury, just when they ask you a question, just respond with "Have you From Beyonded?" Easy way to get out of a jury.
I suppose, have you seen From Beyond is the correct
it's the way to phrase that.
Technically correct way to say it.
I suspect also saying I'm a fan of Lovecraft, not so much his fiction, will also be a great way to get off a jury.
Okay, and we'll see you in 4 years. Okay,
yeah.
Absolutely. Trick or Treat, I think, is one of those absolutely perfect Halloween time movies. Just got good vibes, a bunch of great little stories, great acting, and just great anytime you are looking at the screen, something mildly spooky will be happening.
And I'm a big fan. I like anthology movies in general, but I think anthology horror works particularly well. I have a soft spot for the VHS series and Halloween 3.
Yeah, if there's something if it's not a good one, then one will be along in about 10 minutes.
Yeah,
that's the great thing about horror anthologies. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And also, horror movies tend to be rather short unless they're Terrifier movies,
What are we doing? Over 2 hours? Get the fuck out of here.
2 hours and 20 minutes.
Silly.
And then he's like, I learned my lesson. The next one's 2 hours and 5 minutes.
You didn't learn enough of your lesson.
Right?
Damien Leone, if that is your real name. Probably is his real name, I assume.
It probably is his real name.
We'll see. Sir George Lucas, member for the tip jar for 10 months. Hey. We appreciate that support. Let's see here. Lucas, thank you for the super chat, who says, which neighbor? Nick? Jesse? I assume that is an inside joke I do not understand.
That's a reference to the neighbors that we're saving, right?
Oh. The zombies ate my neighbors? Yeah, so the titular zombies. Who are the titular neighbors?
But also, they seem to be mostly mummies at this point.
Yeah,
I feel like this title is somewhat misleading.
Yeah, Mummies Ate My Neighbors. Doesn't roll off the tongue quite as well.
No.
There's not enough really good spooky mummies in movies. We've given up on mummies.
Yeah.
This is just basically Pac-Man, right? Without wanting to seem snobbish, without wanting to be this is just Pac-Man, right?
This is ostensibly just Pac-Man. Yeah. This is Pac-Man, but instead of gobbling up fruits and power pellets, you're trying to save cheerleaders.
You're saving civilians.
Barbecuers.
Yeah. Sorry.
This
is literally like
video
guy
games,
has seen
this is
Boss
just
Baby
happening.
vibes.
Yeah. I've seen guy who's seen. This is a lot
The
like.
video game equivalent of the guy.
It's a lot like GoldenEye. Are you just saying that because GoldenEye was the last game we played?
Yeah.
I mean, you have a gun. You are shooting people with a gun. This seems very GoldenEye-esque, if you ask me.
I mean, it is a meditation on the post-Cold War world order, I think, you know.
There you go.
What place do these monsters have in the modern world?
Oh my god, that's beautiful.
I mean, I mean,
You know, if you only save the cheerleaders and not the babies, who's the real monster? Am I right?
Yeah,
Is that
yeah.
idea?
Think about
these
it.
are profound questions, profound monster thoughts.
Profound monster thoughts. Snake in the Garden, thank you for the super chat over on YouTube. Darren, Jack, and Marty. Goof stream, a Halloween treat. Honestly,
Better than a Halloween trick.
It's wonderful.
No one wants to get Halloween tricked.
This is not a trick, only a treat.
Only a treat.
I'm getting.
So yeah,
roasted.
how is Halloween out your way, guys? We you know, obviously it's kids trick and treating and Halloween decorations out here, but like in the States, is it a huge deal? Like, how big is Halloween over there?
It's a pretty big deal. There's like weird. I feel like there's almost phases of Halloween because like as a kid, Halloween is very exciting for trick or treating, and then I kind of like hit a spot where I was like, I'm too cool for Halloween and just wanted to like hang out at a friend's house, and then I fully got past that spot, and now I just like the Halloween season. I like the autumnal changing of the leaves. I like getting sweaters. I like people decorating their houses. I like watching spooky movies.
I think that you like being a cast member of Knives Out. It sounds like that's
Exactly.
really like the pitch.
I
sit a cup of coffee and a sweater, and I'm just happy. And autumnal vibes.
Possibly being accused of murder by Don Johnson. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
A lot of it for America depends on the area in which you live in. You know, a lot of neighborhoods are still kind of dealing with the after wakes of like child kidnapping panics of the 80s and 90s. And like, you know, people are going to put razor blades in your caramel apples, which was a huge kind of propaganda.
Around the 80s, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And so a lot of the more suburban areas have their trick-or-treating on like Sunday late morning, so it's really bright out and very stupid. You feel very silly.
Yeah, or they'll have this thing called trunk or treat, where like everyone drives their car to like a school parking lot or something, and you just go from car to car trick or treating.
How is that less creepy? Like you drive into a schoolyard and offer candy from your trunk.
Yeah,
how is that less creepy?
You go around to all these strangers' trunks to get candy.
I don't know, nothing weird about that. I don't know what you guys talk about.
It's very silly. There are still plenty of neighborhoods, though, especially like as you get closer to the city, that do it, you know, at night. Lots of houses. There's a house in Bayview that is owned by people who work for the Milwaukee Performing Arts, and they make a stage production on their front lawn every single year. This year, it's mummies and aliens fighting each other.
Hell yeah.
Amazing.
And like the pyramid is 2 stories tall. I saw it took like 8 large men to move it. I got to watch as they were putting it together. It is glorious.
I love it.
Wow, amazing. That sounds proper committed. Yeah, no, we just do door-to-door stuff. And obviously parents go around with them, and like when I was a kid, because I was an older brother, the best part of Halloween was like the candy tax.
Sure.
Where you didn't have to dress up, but if you escorted a younger sibling around, you got to like top pick of the that's exactly it. I will say I have a friend who is currently considering, myself and his wife are trying to talk him out of this, but is currently considering making like marzipan razors that he will put in apples filled with raspberry jam, which he thinks kids think will be hilarious. But I have to keep telling him that I don't know that their parents will.
No,
that will
not go down well.
That'd be a funny joke for an adult-only Halloween party.
Yeah, that you explain to them before everyone gets there. Yeah,
you don't want the dramatic effect of biting into an apple, discovering a razor blade, and having red liquid coming out of it.
That's incredible.
Yes, very funny.
We did admire, we both admired the creativity of it, but we decided we did pitch not really a great idea.
Yes, that is the correct route. Way to go! Yeah, and you know we will still get like there will be a ton of kids dressing up, a ton of kids having a great time, a lot of kids who put in the bare minimum of effort, and actually a lot of kids who just wear no costumes whatsoever but still want candy.
Sure.
Which I guess, like, at the end of the day, I'm okay with.
Yeah.
I will say, living in a suburban neighborhood, kids are surpurpingly menacing. It's like they can really ruin your day. You really don't want to upset.
Just be on their good side.
10 yeah. For me, there was an incident when I moved here where one of the 10-year-old girls drew like on my a circuit board. You know, obviously, like outside you have like your water meter and your electric meter and all this sort of stuff, and like. Her parents, very polite. Her mother came out and agreed to clean it, but she was like, that kid's going to have a flick knife by the time she's 15 years old. Like, there was a real vibe of like, well, you apologize to Mr. Mooney for what you did. And she was like, no.
You're like, oh, no.
Why would I do that? Yeah.
Yeah, go suck a quarter, Mooney.
Yeah, because she was also an urchin from the 1940s.
All children are, in my opinion. Jumbly Wobbly, thank you for the super chat over in Twitch or highlighted message, however that works.
A giant baby.
Yeah, I'm fighting a giant baby.
See, kids are scary.
Kids are scary. I'm just gotta have to fight a large baby now.
That's terrible.
Do you have to fight it? I feel like you're making a choice.
No, I believe I have to kill it to open a door. Well, I have to kill it so that the door to the cheerleader will open. This is what season 1 of Heroes was all about. Kill the baby, save the cheerleader, save the world.
Well, I mean, we are really doubling down on the baby worth 700, cheerleader worth 1,000 logic, right? How many babies do you have to get? How many babies are worth a cheerleader?
The baby goes, I'm worth more than that.
I just imagine this is the baby from Roger Rabbit. He's just going to smoke like a stogie and slap a lady in the ass afterwards.
I love that baby voice. Great. Jumbly Wobbly says, Jack, does your last name originate with someone addressing your early family after a Packers team? No, incorrect. Packard, I want to say, is a version of Picard, which is an English name, and no one in my family has an English origin, so I have no idea where that came from. I also get Hewlett Packard a lot. In the south side of Milwaukee, there is a Packard Avenue, I believe named after the Packard automobile. I am related to none of these people.
You're not one of the pack.
I'm not one of the pack. No, there's no way to add to that. I'm sorry.
No, sorry.
I thought there would be.
I killed the baby. I killed the baby and it turned into a regular baby, so I feel less bad about murdering.
And you
the
get
baby.
700 points.
And I got 700 points. So.
Great. Martin Hackett has an important question over in YouTube. What is Darren's favorite Puppet Master movie?
Oh my God! Yeah, Darren.
I have not seen any of the Puppet Master movies. I'm going to put my hands up. I'm afraid. I'm ashamed. I will say I was scared off by the fact that it's always introduced as the most Nazi of the major horror franchises. That is one of the reasons I haven't been rushing out to see it.
Only the new Puppet Masters. The old Puppet Masters, very little Nazis. And when there are Nazis, they are the bad guys.
I was about to say, just to be clear, Jack, you said very few Nazis, not no Nazis.
Right.
An acceptable amount of Nazis.
Toulon, Andrew Toulon, the original puppet master, was fleeing Nazi Germany in the original movie to make sure that the Nazis did not get their hands on his amazing puppet technology.
Nothing but respect for my
on the
puppet
movie.
master.
Yeah,
I do love the idea of a horror franchise about like trying to figure out how Kermit rode that bike. So like you watched all of those movies.
I watched most of them, yes.
Oh, okay. Which ones did you skip?
We skipped the modern reboot, which apparently goes full Nazi, and you never go full Nazi.
Oh, is that the S. Craig Zoller one with Bill Hader?
That's the one he wrote. The guy who wrote like Dragged on Concrete and
yes, that one.
Bone Tomahawk.
That guy, because apparently the running gag for that, and I did not watch it, but talking to people who did, the running gag of that is, wouldn't it be so funny if the puppets did hate crimes? And as it turns out, or as I have been told, it is just not a fun watch.
Sure.
It is not enjoyable. So we skipped that one. And then as it gets later and later on, and it gets to shot on video, and it gets like the quality starts deteriorating, we just decided to say F it, because our time is worth something.
But would you recommend? So like I'm being asked which is my favorite Puppet Master. Is it worth dipping my toe into the franchise, at least at the start?
I think if you watch Puppet Master 2 or 3, keeping in mind there's very little continuity between any of the Puppet Masters, I think you will find some enjoyable schlock. Puppet Master 2 is my personal favorite. Puppet Master 3 takes place in Nazi Germany, and it has the puppets killing Nazis, and I believe that is the general fan favorite.
That sounds great.
Okay.
Glorious Bastards with puppets.
Pretty decent. Yeah,
pretty decent. It's no Demonic Toys, also put out by Full Moon. Demonic Toys, written by a young David S. Goyer.
Wow.
Yeah. Which a really, really good writing in the movie. The toys look stupider than puppets. The demonic toys look stupider than the sometimes evil puppets. So. The worst of the bunch is Demonic Toys versus Puppet Master, starring Corey Feldman.
Oh,
they do. Okay, so they go full crossover. I like that. There are again, there was this huge wave of whoever owned the rights. I think it was after Freddy versus Jason in 2003. There was what rights do we own? So obviously you got Alien versus Predator was the big one there. But there was, I think they wanted to keep doing Halloween versus is it Hellraiser? Because those were two Miramax franchises.
Sure.
Yeah. And then there was some other one as well, which was a real we've got these two, so I guess they go together. I'm trying to think what it was. But yeah, it's Puppet Master versus Demonic Toys. It feels like they're in too much of a niche. It feels like you don't get the contrast.
If you could combine two modern prestige horror characters into a one versus movie, like Hereditary,
Pennywise, right?
Hereditary versus Trapped. Josh Hartnett in Trapped trying to get trying to serial kill the Hereditary.
Get out of a cult.
Yeah.
I love it. I think that's great. You could have the witch, the titular witch from The Witch, fighting the devil from Longlegs, fighting the Longlegs.
Oh my God! Of a witch versus a couple of long legs. I'm into that.
Yeah, no, I feel like Babadook versus Longlegs is also one that I would love to see.
One.
Yeah,
I like that one.
Yeah, because obviously the Babadook represents Longlegs is kind of because they're both tied to anxieties around motherhood. Yeah. So you got that nice thematic link there. You got this, you've got to live with Longlegs. You got to invite him in and let him into the house, and not to spoil the Babadook. Oh my God, the idea. Yeah, so it's you have a family and they're caught between Longlegs and the Babadook. That's the basic premise of the movie. It's which one of them do they choose to live with? Do they choose to live with Longlegs, or do they choose to live with the Babadook? That's the pitch.
Oh my God,
love it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And it's kind of like The Burbs. That's kind of what I'm imagining.
I think we can get Tom Hanks.
100% you can get Tom Hanks. Yeah. Sir George Lucas says, I'm curious about this. John Billy asks if American Horror Story is a good show. I have not seen it.
I watched the first.
I have watched a total of 2 episodes.
Or two, and again, I liked it.
You watched Nightmare House.
I watched Nightmare House. Yeah, where with the weird gimp at the end of the bed.
What's his name? The guy from The Practice? Not
Dylan McDermott Dermot Mulroney, maybe. Was that one of them?
Yeah, he's a Dylan or a Dermot or a Mick or something. There's some sort of combination.
All of us
those,
are a Dylan or a Dermot when you think
syllables. About it. Yeah, so that one's Dreamhouse, right?
I believe so. That is the haunted, and that's Evan Peters is a spooky boy.
Yes, and it's an inspiration for Beetlejuice, I believe.
Very much so.
As I recall.
As I was watching Beetlejuice, I'm like, you guys kind of just remade this.
Yeah. So I will say I've not seen more than a couple of episodes of that. I will concede. I guess the fact I didn't continue watching it is probably a judgment of some kind. I don't remember hating it.
I think I saw
I don't remember being
they now do kind of one-off ones, and I think the most recent one I got served on Hulu was an episode that takes place in the back room, starring who's the guy who played Christopher Moltisanti in Sopranos?
Michael Imperioli.
Michael Imperioli. Michael Imperioli gets stuck in the back rooms.
Wait, I thought the Backrooms was a movie. I thought they were developing the Backrooms as a movie.
Well, the Backrooms is a concept.
Director of the Backrooms.
Yeah, the Backrooms has become just a concept kind of online of oh man, if you're not careful, you'll end up in the back rooms. I don't think no one person can own the back rooms.
I wonder.
Kane, Kane Parsons apparently does because he's making the A24 movie of it.
We can all listen. We can all own the back rooms.
Do you think we can consider the back rooms to be Lovecraftian horror because it is kind of about like an unknowable space?
It feels like modern,
right?
like the idea that is like modern, like liminal space horror is modern Lovecraftian horror.
Okay. Yeah. Like non-racist Lovecraftian horror.
Yeah.
I'm like,
well, you never know. It started on the internet.
So I ended up in the back rooms, and guys, surprisingly racist. The back rooms are surprisingly racist.
Turns out it's a metaphor for integration in the 1960s. Who would have thought?
Would not have thought it.
Atta Bretch, thanks for the super chat. Have any of you seen Woman of the Hour? I genuinely can't believe I hadn't heard the story it's based on.
I have. I liked it a lot. This is the Anna Kendrick movie on Netflix based on the dating game killer. It's her first film as directorial debut. It's really short.
Yeah, I have it in my Netflix.
She co-wrote it as well, I think.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, no, it's Anna Kendrick Auteur. Like, it did the festival circuit last year, got delayed by the strikes and got snatched up by Netflix. Released over the weekend, and no real cover. Again, like, it's on Netflix. It's one of those things where, like, it kind of may as well not exist. I liked it a lot. It is only 90 minutes long, and it breezes by, and it's, it's not necessarily saying anything that you haven't heard before in a lot of modern takes on true crime, where there's a lot of emphasis on, say, victims and the male gaze and things like that. But it is very well made. It's very well directed. I think Kendrick is really great, because when is Kendrick not really great? And I think it is like unsettling in a way that a movie like that should be unsettling.
Ooh,
so I had a good time with it.
That's a great recommendation. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Lampy88 says, fun fact, this is not the first time in the last month Marty has had to kill a giant baby.
It's not the first
in
time
a game,
last month.
right? In a game.
Now I'm worried.
I'm doing the Padme thing from Attack of the Clones.
I'm trying to think if I've played a game where I had to kill a giant baby. Oh yeah, Metaphor Fantasio. One of the bosses is a giant baby. So yeah, this is the second.
Metaphor Fantasio.
A Metaphor Fantasio. I'm sorry to all of our Italian listeners. I'm sorry.
Never apologize, Marty. Never apologize.
Yeah,
it's too fun.
Yeah.
Jason Tudor says, speaking of jury duty, has anyone seen Red Rooms? One of the most intense movies I have ever seen. Absolutely amazing, and no one's talking about it. You are Jason Tudor.
That's the horror movie about like people who are committing like copycat crimes of someone who's like filming snuff videos.
Oh, the Red Rooms, that's the internet thing, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, and like I think someone on the jury like becomes obsessed with it and almost wants to do the crimes themselves. I've heard it's very good. I've heard it's one of the best horror movies of the year. I have not seen it.
I have not seen it. I had not discovered it until this was mentioned, so now it is on my list.
Yeah, it sounds.
Oh, there you go.
I heard good things.
You've gotten it on people's
Too many
lists.
movies. Too many movies. There are too many movies and TV shows.
You know what I watched last night?
Time.
Speaking of movies that get fucking tossed to streaming and completely forgotten about, I watched this time travel movie called Caddo Lake. Have you seen Caddo Lake?
What? Caddo? No.
Caddo Lake. It was straight to HBO Max. It's starring fucking Dylan O'Brien, the kid who played just Dan Aykroyd in the Saturday Night Live movie. And I think he was in Dylan Mulroney. Yeah. Dylan O'Brien. I think he might have been in some of those. He's
in the Maze Runner. I was
going to say he's in some of those Hunger Game movies that aren't Hunger Games, whatever those are called, like Maze Runner. Divergence. Did he have an
accident as well? I think as well. Because there was something where his career got derailed, but I'm just going to check that now. I should check these things before I say them out loud. I just realized that
he was excellent as I thought he was really good as Dan Aykroyd in the SNL movie. He's very good in this movie. I'm a sucker for time travel movies, so I'll watch anything with a little bit of time travel. It also is shot, I'm assuming, somewhere in the American South, because it takes place in this kind of swampy area where they're getting everywhere by boats, and there's kind of trees coming out of the swamp. It's very cool looking. The time travel stuff just kind of falls apart and is very predictable, but in terms of like a 90-minute movie, I didn't mind it. Yeah, Caddo Lake, Caddo.
Caddo Lake.
Yeah.
Caddo Lake. So yes, he was in an accident while filming Maze Runner: The Death Cure. Which is still one of those great titles. Like those movies are entirely forgettable, but I do love the title The Death Cure.
Also, if you put down like
1980s
10 subtitles and 9 of them were fake, I would not have picked Death Cure as a real subtitle for that movie.
It's like The Deadly Assassin.
Yes. Ninja 3: The Assassination.
Yeah.
John Billy Wobbly says, I'm sorry you were doing jury duty and didn't get my Grand Elf Packers reference. To be fair, it was bad. Well, there you go.
Oh, Grand Elf. Now I got it. So you didn't watch Rings of Power, did you, Jack?
I didn't. I haven't seen any of the new season of Rings of Power because I wasn't going to be on that episode, so I didn't watch any of it.
Do you know what Grand Elf is?
I have been told what Grand Elf is, and yes, it makes me very sad.
Counterpoint.
Hodor. Yeah.
You gotta stop using Hodor as a pejorative, because that was emotional.
I'm not using it I'm using it as a statement of fact, Marty. Like
we are using it as something that's really dumb. I will also say, oh, Mr. High Elf, I see you have no family, so you're solo, huh?
Yep.
Huh? Is that what you're saying? You're solo?
Yeah, there's a fair whack of that.
There's like the entire second season is that, just over and over.
Yeah,
and that makes me say boo out loud. I will probably still watch it and probably mostly enjoy it because I am a goddamn sucker for that world. So
Morgoth's chief lieutenant seems pretty bitter about what's happening. In fact, I'd say he's quite Sauron.
Wait a minute.
I can't escape that Slack channel. How do I get out of there?
It seems the tiny river folk has gotten the ring. He's achieved his goal. He's Golem. Yeah, he's Golem.
He's Golem.
It's all stupid. I hate it all.
Where are these short people going to stay? They seem to, enjoy their hobbies and recreations. They have a lot of bad hobbits?
Wait a minute.
I hate all this. More beer.
I just... Well,
but you know that this is what's happening in the room, Marty.
Yeah.
This is
this is the
100%. Somebody's throwing a ball around and being like, "Yep, that's gold."
That's gold. And we just want to make sure that that they understand that it's very stupid. It's very, very stupid writing. I overall enjoyed the first season of Rings of Power, and I can clearly see its faults and a lot of its bullshit, but I love the Lord of the Rings, so I'm here for it. So I will probably be here for a lot of season 2.
Which one's your favorite ring? Because there's a lot of rings this season.
Oh yeah, they all get a moment.
Yeah, everyone gets a ring.
Oh, they all get a moment. Well, there you go. Let's see here. Sir George Lucas says, tell me this. Do you know any solid werewolf movies?
Dog Soldiers? Ginger Snaps?
Yeah, the Neil Marshall Dog Soldiers movie. I mean, an American Werewolf, although you have to deal with like the Landis of it all, so I completely understand if people are like, I don't want to watch that.
Yeah.
Don't know if it counts as a werewolf movie, but the The Wolf of Snow Hollow, which is like What if Silence of the Lambs, but for men? Yeah. Because the way men don't really get much of anything. Like there's so much stuff and so little of it's for men.
Why don't we have anything from the boys?
Yeah, I do really appreciate, unironically, I do appreciate Jim Cummings being like, what would a version of Silence of the Lambs, but for men be like? And it's like, it's brilliant. It is honestly brilliant. I'm
looking forward.
Hear it for the boys.
Let's hear it for the boys. I'm looking forward to, was it Lee Winnell's?
Wolfman next year.
Yeah, because I thought his Invisible Man was great. I really liked it with what's her name from Mad Men? Elizabeth. Yes, not Elizabeth Shue. Elizabeth Olsen? Nope, that's the other one.
No.
Elizabeth Hurley.
Elizabeth Moss.
She's a Scientologist, isn't she?
Yeah, Elizabeth Moss. We don't need to talk about the Scientology part.
Oh, okay, all right, sorry. I don't know why I thought
every time I think about that, I get sad.
Yeah.
But by the way, it sounded like they did. It sounded like that did prompt Marty. Like, oh, of course. Scientology Rolodex.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. Exactly. Thank you for narrowing it down. She's not Tom Cruise. She's not Will Smith is in here as Curious.
But speaking of mummy movies and Scientologists, check out Tom Cruise in The Mummy. The movie that started and ended the Dark Universe.
I want to be honest here, like Marty. The thing about the Dark Universe is it had no single start or end point. It had several start and end points. Remember when Dracula Untold was supposed to be the start of the Dark Universe?
Was it?
Yeah, it was the soft launch. Like apparently they were ready to announce the Dark Universe after its opening weekend. They were like, this movie's going to overperform, and we're going to come out of the gate. We're going to say, well, by the way, check out the teaser at the end of it. It's the start of a new Universal monster movie, and then obviously didn't perform at all. So like, okay, hard launch is now going to be The Mummy. And then after The Mummy fails, they had the photo launch. Remember the infamous Dark Universe photo launch?
Was it like Johnny Depp as like was
people who were definitely in the room together?
Yeah.
Certainly.
Yeah, Russell Crowe as the Invisible Man, or Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. What a dumb movie! Man. What a dumb everything.
Sir George Lucas says, I have to ask you experts this. What were the titular 5 armies in the 3rd Hobbit film, and what were they fighting for?
They're fighting for the gold, weren't? No, what? They're fighting for what was owed for the gold. Again, this feels like a test.
Well, they were all around because they were all surrounding the mountain. I've only seen the Hobbit movies twice.
Durin had retaken the mountain, basically, as I understand it, and so you had these armies coming to claim it for some reason because it was important. Now I can't remember what it was. I mean, did he owe somebody something and was refusing to share, or something like that?
Yeah, or is it just...
I believe in the books, that's what it was. It was supposed to be shared amongst all the people who had kind of helped the dwarves along their way, and he was being a little greedy.
Yeah.
I have never
that's
seen
the big arc.
Hobbit movies.
Oh.
Yeah.
Good call, Jack. Good call.
I feel very happy with that call. But I love the book a lot, and I
love the book so much too.
The most lovely thing about that book is like the entire is like while you read it, or at least your first time reading it, your entire question is like, why the hell is Bilbo here? Why did Gandalf make Bilbo go on this adventure? He's so useless. But then it's like, oh no, his kindness.
Oh, we love a kindness.
He's basically like he put a chill out dude in the bro party, in the frat party.
A chill out dude in the bro party.
Yeah, that's Bilbo.
So I died and got game over.
It feels like a cheat episode and 2 orc armies. It really feels like we were just making up.
It's like, this is too many orc armies. You put too many orc armies here.
Feels like you're cheating. It's like, well, we said it was 5 armies. What are we going to do? Just say it's 2 orc armies.
Guys, we forgot to make a 5th army. Fuck it. Split it out.
People like orcs, right? They're the ones we'll double up on.
People love orcs.
I love it. John Brooks says, adding to the bribe from the earlier stream, take this to get Jesse Schwab on Rewind for a Godzilla Kaiju special.
Oh, man,
I mean, 100%. We can do that anytime.
Yeah.
And nobody knows Godzilla better than Jesse, which is incredible. Because one of the first episodes I did on the backdrop was a Godzilla one, and it was just great because I was literally like, I will do none of the work, and Jesse will just know what to do. It was
sounds great.
Really phenomenal. Yeah,
I would love. Obviously, I've seen like the big Godzilla movies, but I would love to know some of the deep cuts that are worth watching.
I really liked Hedorah, and I really like The Return of Godzilla. I've not seen all of them either. I've seen about like 10 of them of the 30 odd.
Anyone?
You know who I like? I like Godzuki.
Jesse has seen all of them.
I like Godzuki.
Little Godzilla.
The baby. Is that the baby?
That's the baby.
That's the baby.
Godzilla Jr. Yeah.
Godzuki.
Yeah. I do want to shout out Hedorah. Hedorah is great because Hedorah is like, it's like the 60s came to Japan late. So it's like a 1970s movie about like Earth and like nature, and it has go-go dancers and a smog cloud. It's fantastic.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Sussy Guru 2000 says, reminds me of the anecdote told by Neil Tyson, where he was dismissed from jury for asking why the prosecutor used 1,000 milligrams instead of 1 gram. Back when we were talking about ways to get out of jury duty.
Oh, that's a good way to do it.
Yeah,
that's funny.
I mean, that is a very Tyson. Like, if you told me Tyson got ejected from jury duty, I would assume it was for a reason. Like that.
For being smug.
Being an asshole. I still prefer have you from beyonded.
Yeah. Have you from beyond. You know what my favorite part of these streams are? Reading super chats and then trying to remember what we were talking about 20 minutes ago.
All right. It's getting to the point in the stream in which I need to step away for a little bit. I have a replacement for me, so don't worry.
Great.
I need to step away for about 15 to 20 minutes. But before we do that, I would like to share with y'all a story based on this next super chat, which is Gidnius Budnikas says, Jack, based on your recommendation, I watched Exit to Eden last night. It was absolutely terrible. What's wrong with you?
What's Exit to Eden?
In which I will share my story, which is Gidrius, I never recommended watching Exit to Eden. There was a thread happening over on Blue Sky where people wanted you to share your most memorable movie-going experience.
Exit
you
to
know, just
Eden
kind of like
is yours?
a joy of cinema kind of
Sure.
situation. And for me, growing up, I did not spend a lot of time with my father. My parents were divorced. I saw my father every other weekend. He worked a lot. We did not spend a lot of time together. So, but he knew two things about me. I liked movies and I liked comedies. And so his big idea was, I will take you to see a movie starring prominent comedians, and I will do no further research into what that movie is about. And so he took me to Exit to Eden, starring Dan Aykroyd and Rosie O'Donnell. Now, Exit to Eden is a BDSM-themed rom-com romp. People are spanking each other and masturbating through most of the movie in full GIMP outfits.
Oh.
And we ended up walking out maybe 30, 45 minutes into the movie because it was like me, my dad, and I mean, you know, what was I, 13, 14 when the movie came out? It was me, my dad, and like 3 other people in the theater for this movie. And to me, that was a glorious movie-going experience.
Have you ever gone back and finished the fight?
I did. Oh, of course. Yeah, I went back and watched it. And, you know, it's fine. It's a fine little rom-com. But I absolutely did not recommend you go see Exit to Eden. I shared a story about why I love the power of cinema.
You did not recommend it unless you could bring your father to a screening of it. In which case, highly
and walk out
recommend it.
halfway through. Yeah.
Bring a relative. Well, because like that's part of the thing about the power of cinema is it's the shared artistic experience.
Sure.
We're all sitting here together sharing the same thing. Sometimes that art's pretty dang awkward.
Sometimes it goes wrong. Exit to Eden. Yikes. That's a big yikes. That would
So
be
anyway,
like the equivalent of like, oh, my kid loves Billy Madison and Happy Gilmore. Let me take him to this other fun Adam Sandler movie, Uncut Gems.
Okay, well that too. Yeah. The movie that opens inside Adam Sandler's colon.
There you go. Yeah, that scene directed by the Russos.
Yeah, I know. Like that's the thing. It's like it's not even that the idea is bad. It's that their execution of it is bad. Like it's.
All right, I'm going to step away for about 15 minutes, and I will be back. But don't worry, I have a replacement. I'll get my replacement ready.
Okay, great.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah,
Really.
I've heard good things about this new member of Second Wind.
Okay, we're looking forward to it. I mean, we have been expanding the ranks.
That's
But
that's true. Jess is no longer
no
the
bones
newbie.
about it.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, no bones about it.
I was hoping for a 15-foot skeleton. I will be honest. I'm a little bit disappointed that it seems less than 15 feet. Seems very exciting, though.
They say like it's very tough to hold a 2-hour stream, but I'd say it's a skull issue myself.
Oh my god.
I know. Look forward to this.
God.
A whole host of jaw-droppingly terrible puns.
You're the problem. I can't even blame Jack. Jack's not here anymore.
Yeah, I am the problem. Sorry, I'm quite a humorous guy there.
Oh my god, what are we doing? I'm gonna go to the super chat. Retro guy, bring back Brendan Fraser's mummy movies. That's something the world needs more of. How do you feel
I'm
about
surprised
the
they haven't announced
reclamation?
a legacy sequel.
Right?
Like, that's the one big property that I'm like, how are you not doing that? Particularly after he won the Oscar.
Yeah,
Because you've got like incredible goodwill towards them.
Mm-hmm.
People don't remember the third one exists.
No.
It's much like the Indiana Jones situation.
they like recast.
And it is in that.
Wasn't like Maria Bello instead of Rachel Weisz? Yeah.
That's it. And like I like Maria Bello, like, but she has a very different energy than Rachel Weisz.
Yeah.
I'm like when Maria Bello plays a wife in a movie, it's typically something like, say, A History of Violence. It's like
Slightly different
energy.
Slightly different energy.
Yeah. But no, like I remain astonished that like the Mummy again hasn't happened, or the Mummy resumes, or whatever. And like I'm surprised
the Mummy resumes. Could you imagine? We've ran out of rewords. We don't have any more. We just.
You know what I discovered? Like Alien vs. Predator Requiem,
Yeah.
which is a movie that does not contain a single requiem.
No.
It does not
Weird
take place
title.
at Mass.
Yeah.
There's no solemn, dignified musical compositions in
Yeah.
it. It's just called Alien vs. Predator Requiem because they need to communicate to audiences that it would be R-rated. So they'd had to be AVP or. And the only or title they could come up with was Requiem.
Incredible. Is that true?
Yeah, I believe it is.
That is, even if it's not true, it's good enough. It's true enough for me.
The Brothers Strauss have come out and said we can't say why it's really called Requiem.
Yeah.
That's it. That when they were asked like why is it called Requiem, because there's no mass in it. It's not very quiet and there's no pieces of music. It's like, well, we can't really tell you why it is. So the speculation is apparently that it was just because Fox wanted to have AVP or
that is
as the title.
That is deeply stupid. Movies were a mistake. Maybe we should not make them.
You say
anymore.
that the only stupid decision made in the making of Alien vs Predator Requiem, to be clear.
Yeah, certainly. I haven't.
Otherwise.
I haven't gone back and even when I did my Alien rewatch before Romulus, I did not go back and include the two of those. I've not seen them since theaters, and I did not even enjoy them in theaters. And I was relatively, I was youngish and was generally softer on movies as a kid / teenager. But I did not even like them then.
As a kid, I hated Alien versus Predator, but as an adult who's no longer like the grr movies need to be rated or type person, I'm a lot calmer towards it.
Okay.
Particularly because like we kind of come back around as a culture on Paul W.S. Anderson.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's the best Paul Anderson, but we've come around as a
still,
culture and accepted
still
him.
a strong number 2.
Yeah. And like it's great going back and watching it, and it is like you can see the tendencies. It is a wife guy movie.
Yeah.
It's a movie where the Predator becomes a wife guy. It's like what is your window into the Predator? It's like, well, what if he meets a really strong woman and he respects her? And it's like, damn, Paul, that's a pitch.
You really are a wife guy. Truly.
Yeah.
The most wife guy of them all.
Yeah.
Geldon, thank you so much for a $5 dono. Marty, Jack, and Darren on a Zombies Ate My Neighbor stream, and it's not even my birthday. Sadly, Jack Packard has passed away and has been replaced by a very positive
Why are you
skeleton.
a Grim Reaper?
I took a potion, and I think when you take the potion, you don't know what's going to happen. So while we were talking, I died, and I lost in Zombies Ate My Neighbors. And Zombies Ate My Neighbors is notoriously...
you're not playing something else.
This is another game on the same thing. This was like a sequel that came out several years later, I believe, called The Ghoul Patrol, that I'm not familiar with. But it's sort of, I think it's kind of the same setup as Zombies Ate My Neighbors.
Okay. Were you too cool for Ghoul?
I'm a little too cool for ghouls. Yeah. How do you feel about ghouls? Do we have enough movies with ghouls?
That is a question. I mean, what are ghouls? Is the Crypt Keeper a ghoul?
Oh, the Crypt Keeper is absolutely a ghoul.
Well, then I feel like we've got the right amount of ghouls.
Okay.
I feel like the market has been saturated.
By what?
Oh, there's a Christine level. It's a Christine level. I'm sorry. I shouldn't be so.
You know what I'm
excited.
mad at? How come Mike Flanagan's wasting his time with an 8-part Carrie miniseries? We could get an 8-part Christine miniseries.
I think because Brian Fuller still has Christine, right? Isn't that the way it works?
Brian Fuller's
doing much of anything.
Yeah, I don't think so. 8-part? No. I don't need an 8-part Carrie miniseries. I got ran over by Christine.
You say that, but also like you probably also didn't need an 8-episode like Bly Manor adaptation.
Sure.
8-episode like.
And I really like Mike Flanagan, so I'm on board, and I'm sure he's gonna do something interesting with it. But I just feel like every time he's doing something that isn't the Dark Tower, we are further away from the Dark Tower.
Like the thing about Flanagan, which is so interesting, is that like. He made the best Salem's Lot adaptation, and it's not a Salem's Lot adaptation. Yeah, Midnight Mass.
Midnight Mass is so good.
It is, and it's kind of weird that he's gone from being the guy who makes movies that are like, affectionate knockoffs and clearly influenced by Stephen King, to being the guy who now canonically has to adapt all of Stephen King.
Yeah, you can even do the weird deep cut stories like Life of Chuck that end up winning awards at film festivals and everything.
2026 Oscar contender, baby.
Yeah, that's really weird that they're like, oh, we're just going to put this next year.
Really? This year is so packed, obviously.
What a weird Oscar season going into it. I had, my mom the other day asked me, because she always gets excited about Oscar movies and watching all of them before the show. She's like, what movies are going to be nominated for Oscars? I'm like, I literally don't know. There is no front runner. The Brutalist, maybe? I don't know when you're going to be able to see that.
Like a Nora by default.
Yeah, I'm curious if people will remember that something like Challengers existed earlier on in the year, or if that was a little too early, too weird.
Again, part of me is like, why isn't Dune Dune should logically be the front runner, particularly in a year after Oppenheimer won, where it's like a big crowd pleasing movie. It made a lot of money. It garnered great reviews. It's usually technically impressive. I am kind of surprised that Dune is not on anybody's lips as far as conversations go.
Yeah, I'm curious if it's the.
Warner's got to push Joker Folie à Deux, I suppose.
Oh yeah, I guess. Or if it's just there's gonna be a Dune 3, they're already and if they're sort of
we may as well Return of the King of it. Yeah,
exactly.
And he's coming back to do the third one quicker as well. Then he announced that during the week. He was like, "Yep, I'll be starting filming in 2026."
Yeah,
which is quicker than a lot of people expected.
And people were excited for that because that means Greg Fraser, the cinematographer, can shoot both Batman 2 as well as Dune 3.
Which is, I love that people like are excited about cinematographer. Like, as much as like
that's great.
We talk about like the media literacy and stuff like that. It's great that people are like, no, this guy makes movies look good.
Yeah,
and like so it's good that he gets to make movies look
good.
And
that like people see Roger Deakins shooting something like, oh hell yeah, Deakins is on this. Like that's good. We're better as a society for that.
You know what I discovered while researching like the Wild Robot? Deakins helped work on the Dragon movies, the How to Train Your Dragon movies.
Oh.
Like DreamWorks brought in Roger Deakins to teach them how to like modify or depict light in CGI, which is kind of great. I kind of love that.
Incredible. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
And
there was, I think, with WALL-E, they invented lenses. Like they invented like CGI lenses. Like again, how CGI filmmaking works is so fascinating because it's like we'd never thought about lenses because you just render the movie and it appears.
Yeah.
So we had to like hire cinematographers to be like, well, how do we code a lens?
Yeah.
Like for what we're animating.
Yeah. How do we use this computer to emulate technology from 100 years ago? Yeah.
Yeah, like these virtual spaces. And again, like the thing with is it The Incredibles? Where to save money, Brad Bird says you don't have to animate all four walls of a room. You can animate it like it's a sitcom.
Like it's a set.
If you're only going to shoot that's it. If you're only going to shoot it from this angle, you don't need the fourth wall. And you don't need to worry about lighting setups being natural. You can put them in unnatural places because it's like live action cinema, the way that you like the scene. Again, CGI, computer animation is so fascinating.
It is wild to me that no one brought that up before. Of like, you don't need to do this whole thing. We're not going to use it. That's fine.
It was only like 10 years into like the existence of that medium as a form.
Yeah. I guess that's true.
Like, how long did it take them to be like, picture's good, no one else is good, sound? What if we could have both of them together?
Get out of town, sound and picture.
What if these images, hear me out, were in color?
No, you've gone too far now.
What if there were a third dimension and they're like, okay, that is too far.
What if this,
don't bother us again?
What if this cam was steady? A steady cam. Lucas, thank you so much for the dono. We got The Mummy with Brendan Fraser in the 90s, and no other movies were able to touch its peak. I feel like the Brendan Fraser Mummy movies have a ton of nostalgic love from folks at a very certain age.
Earned. Like they're the things where like when they arrived, I remember the reception to them being like, these things are grand and fine. But I think in hindsight, they've been kind of validated as like they're just really good movies starring like really likable movie stars. It's very similar to something like the Indiana Jones stuff.
Yeah.
Where you're doing an homage to what came before, and you just cast a good actor in the role and let them have fun.
And I think it's very much like we didn't realize how good we had it. Which happens a lot, where you're like, oh, it's an easy thing to overlook in the 90s, and now that we just don't get things like that anymore of that quality, we're like, oh man, I wish we got movies like that more.
Oh yeah, no, like the one I go to is it from 1998 or 1999? But it's like What Lies Beneath, which is the Robert Zemeckis movie starring Harrison Ford and Michelle Pfeiffer, and it's great.
Yeah.
And you read the reviews of it, and the reviews of it are all like, oh god. One of our greatest living directors is doing another Hitchcock pastiche with two of our greatest living actors. Oh, when are people going to start making real movies? When are we going to stop releasing junk like this?
Yeah.
And you sit there and you're like, I would kill for one
Could
movie
you imagine?
like this.
Yeah.
Like, imagine if like Challengers had been greeted with, so passé, another slightly erotic drama starring a bunch of attractive young people from a visual stylist. Oh, try something new, Hollywood.
What did they? I'm trying to think of the other. What was the other? It was not. It was Carrie and is Luca Guadagnino doing American Psycho? Supposedly?
Yes. Which is again not a movie that I think needs to be remade.
No.
But I'm very curious what it will look like.
Yeah, and I'm also curious if they like try to modernize it, because like I feel like the idea of a Wall Street job in modern day feels like sort of silly and boring. Like they would almost need to make it like a tech job, like a Silicon Valley tech job, if they wanted.
But
to
I mean, even when the movie was released, it was a period piece because it's in the late 80s.
Yeah, that's true.
When the novel was written, right?
Yeah.
Have I told you this story about like as a kid? I wanted to see American Psycho because I'd heard it was good and I liked horror movies. And my parents were like, no, under no circumstances are you going to see an 18s movie by yourself.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh. And they were like, you know what? You're a good kid. You're good in school. We want to encourage you to read. You can't see the movie, but you can read the book.
That's so much worse. That's so much worse.
And it's because I was like 9 or 10 years old at the time or whatever age I was.
Yeah.
And it's like I didn't get satire. So when I get to like the bits that are, well, first of all, it informed a lot of my taste. So
Sure.
now I still believe that Phil Collins is superior to the Supremes. And when I shave using the entire methodology outlined by Patrick Bateman over a full chapter of the book. But also like when it's like, and the ATM told me to feed it stray cats. I'm like, oh, okay, that's gonna haunt my dreams. That is, like that is going to be my nightmare for the next 3 months.
I thought you were
and then you see the movie and it's just fun.
I thought you were going to say your parents were like, we absolutely no way will we take you to see this. However, here's Jack's dad, and he can take you to see this.
We're tagging him in on this one.
He's got experience in taking kids to movies that they probably shouldn't be seeing yet.
Absolutely.
I remember my dad taking me to see Hannibal. That was a nice, because I'd read the book. And again, that was another thing where Darren had to reward reading.
Yeah.
My parents would be like, okay, if you read the book, because it looks like a big hefty book, you can see the movie. And I remember the experience of my dad explaining to the ticket owner that yes, he was aware it was an 18s movie, and yes, he was aware that I looked about 10, but it was his decision and we'll figure it out. And the ticket guy had a bit of a "this is not worth it, man" vibe to it. It's like fine, 2 tickets to Hannibal.
Honestly, that's how it should be.
Yeah.
I also I just enjoy the difference of you calling it an 18s movie.
Yeah.
Yes. Sorry. Our certs are like we don't with an R rating like a parent can typically bring you, right? It's basically a PG, but it's for up until the age of 18. Right? No, for you guys, right?
Yeah.
If it's R rated, you can take a child.
Yeah. I saw R-rated movies with my parents. And
correct.
Yeah, with Irish rating systems until relatively recently, it was all harsh. So it was 50. We had 15s. So nobody under 15 could see it even with a guardian, or 18s, which is nobody under 18 could see it even with a guardian. We kind of loosened up. We now have like 16A, which is nobody under the age of 16 can see it without an adult. But yeah, 18s are still harsh. Like it's still a rigid boundary, and it's still like a commercial death for 18s. And again, I don't know how much you guys want to go into this, but like there is a big difference between the Irish and American rating systems, where you guys are very particular. Like you guys have like a very rigid, like you can do X, Y, and Z. So you can use the word fuck twice in a non-sexual context and still get a PG-13 rating, for example.
Yeah.
You can show as much blood as you want in a PG movie. It just can't be red or black, right? So you can have people bleed green or blue and it'll be allowed and it'll be acceptable within it. As long as the knife doesn't penetrate the flesh, you can do whatever you want with it, right? Whereas the Irish rating system affords our classification board much greater freedom. So we actually do take a look at what the movie in aggregate is doing.
Interesting.
So you'll end up with weird situations where movies that are rated like PG in the US will be rated 15s here. Like because we're like none of that crap. It's like trying to get around this. I think like Alien versus Predator might have been 15s here as opposed to like PG-13 or whatever. The Dark Knight I know was 12 controversially.
Oh
yeah,
it's fun because it's like, of course, we have this self-governing rules system, and like they went to the lengths to make rules, and it's like, well, or you could just watch the movie and figure it out. It's like, no, these are the rules.
No, these are the rules. Yeah, sorry.
But because it has to be seen to be impartial, because they're all very closely tied to the studio system.
Yeah.
Like the PG-13 rating over there exists because Spielberg's like, come on, like when they're like, we feel like your Spielberg movies are getting a little bit too violent, we may have to start rating them. Or Spielberg's like, come on, and they're like, okay, PG-13 just for you.
Yeah,
Stevie.
yeah, you have the ability to change this entirely.
Yeah.
But also very important. Like I think a PG-13 is a very important distinction between a PG and an R. PG is so nebulous.
Yeah.
Well, there is a creep there though, is the thing, right? Because you have like, I remember back in the day, PG movies used to be relatively edgy, and that was the whole thing. Like the reason why PG-13 exists is it because of Temple of Doom or because of Raiders of the Lost Ark?
Yeah, it was around then, or Gremlins or something, right? Like,
that's what brought along PG-13.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah, and I like nowadays, like there's the whole big thing of, well, first of all, a G rating or a U rating is death. economically for a movie. So you'll have studios add violence to movies that don't need violence in order to get a PG rating, because PGs are easier to sell to kids to go to.
Oh, because G is this is for babies. We're not gonna go see a G
This is
movie.
baby stuff. Yeah, which is very, very strange. It's very like that sort of stuff is very strange to me. The obsession with ratings.
It's part of the business, right? It's part of the sales, which is
it absolutely is
very, very fun.
But as you said, they regulate themselves in order to avoid external regulation. Like over here in Ireland and in the UK, like they're state bodies. The Irish Film Classification Board is a state body. The Irish Film Censor is a official post in the government held by Dr. Kazan. Whereas like in America, it's the studios got together and we all agreed that this sounds about right, right? Yeah. Please don't regulate us. Please don't ask any questions about our business practices.
No. That lost money. I swear, for tax purposes, that movie lost money.
Forrest Gump, the second highest grossing movie of the year, was a massive bomb. So please don't expect any payouts, Mr. Author Person.
We can't possibly pay residuals. We haven't made money back on it.
Yeah.
Ugh. How about that? Okay, did we got a couple. You continue with super chats?
Yeah, I read about 3 of them. The last one we did was Lucas's "We Got Mummy" with Brendan Fraser.
We got Mummy with Brendan Fraser.
Oh my God, there's a slide button. I discovered a slide button.
Does this change everything, Marty?
No. I'm gonna be honest.
Okay.
I thought.
Does it change some things?
No, because I can't even slide. There's like a thing here that I should be able to slide under, and I can't. And now I just want to know why there's even a slide button. They tempted me with a slide button.
Lampy says, did zombies eat Jack? No. Or they tried, and I'm back for more.
Yeah. Is that a skeleton you just keep around year-round, or is that like something you only...
That is a skeleton that I took out of my front yard.
Okay, gotcha.
that I will put back in my front yard as soon as the stream is over. I have a lovely diorama set up in my front yard, and it's currently missing a skeleton. I didn't think anyone would miss it for the couple of hours that I was here, because I knew I was going to be gone for a little bit.
There you go.
Let's see here. Sir George Lucas says, I have now seen the con man movie Brothers Bloom. Rachel Weisz and her shenanigans were the highlight. Loved her performance. Shout out to Hagrid being in the movie. Yeah. Please discuss.
I'm a big fan of Brothers Bloom.
Big fan of Rian Johnson's, Brothers Bloom. Again, Adrian Brody. One of our great... Speaking of the Brute List, because we were talking about the Oscar race very briefly there. Adrian Brody, one of our great underrated kind of performers.
Completely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
and Ruffalo's the other one, isn't he? Is Ruffalo the other brother?
The two of them. Yeah, Rachel Weisz. Great movie. Robbie Coltrane.
Oh. There you go.
I died in this game as well. These games are so fucking hard. Why did they make games like this? What did they think kids could beat these games?
I was gonna say, isn't there, and this is just me as an observer, isn't there like a trend towards arguing that games are easier now than they were when we were kids? Is that just old people shaking their fists at the sky, or is that like something that has some semblance of truth?
I feel like they're like the big blockbusters try to very much have at least modes that hold your hand as you play them. And I think the reason games from like the Dark Souls series has gotten so popular is because they very much do not do that. And so I think people feel like it's a it's going back to the old days of getting your ass kicked by a game.
Okay.
Well,
all right.
Back in the day, back in the Super Nintendo days when this came out, there weren't that many games. And so a way to artificially inflate the amount of time in which you play it is to make it more difficult.
Yeah.
During the NES days, a lot of them were simple ports from arcade cabinets who were, of course, just designed to suck your quarters away from you. So that's why they were difficult. Here, they're like, well, people now want a long game experience, but we can't make another level. We can't make more enemies. I know. We'll just make it harder. And then it will take you longer to play it. And so they're demonstrating the value of the game via its length, via its difficulty.
Okay.
Look at that. You learned something. You didn't think you learned something today, did you? We all learned something together.
We did. Sorry, I should point out I got confused there. It's 15A and 16. So 15A is like 15 without the accompaniment of an adult, and 16 is just you have to be over 16. That's how old I am. They've changed the rating system in Ireland.
Oh, no, how could they? I fear change.
How could they change it? Gelden Yetch says, no, really, I'm just phoning Batman Arkham Shadow. I'm sure that was referencing something we said.
I believe Batman Arkham Shadow is a new game in the Batman Arkham universe released today. However,
This is the Oculus one, right? This is the virtual reality one, right?
Yeah. So it is the next game in the Batman Arkham universe. It is an Oculus VR game, and the reviews have been very good.
Oh,
nice. I don't have an Oculus. I have a PS5, so that's a completely different system, and it's not supported on that, right? On the VR, right?
And people have asked, and I just wanted to remind people that we are still going to be doing Last of Us things with Darren. We will be tying that around when Season 2 launches, though, which will probably be early next year, I imagine.
Okay.
It seems like a spring thing, right?
Yep.
Why not?
Yeah.
Why not? John Billy Wobbly says, Darren, 2 questions. 1 bit border. Maybe that was supposed to be broader.
No, bit border is what we call those like super chats now on on Twitch. They're little bit borders.
Gotcha. Okay. Where I'm assuming, let's see here. I'm assuming, watching a bad Halloween movie for semi-monthly movie night at Second Wind. First of all, it's been monthly.
It's been monthly since we took over. Since we got those keys.
Right. Exactly. What is a good title? Follow up. Am I insane? After hearing everyone at Second Wind chip in about Citizen Kane, you'd think it's the most boring film ever. I love that film. Very energetic.
People don't. Okay, let's do the second one first. People don't like Citizen Kane? Citizen Kane's great.
I'm going to be honest. A lot of bad movie takes get thrown around on streams. Such as The Shining and Jaws are boring. A lot of bad movie takes get thrown around on streams.
Whoa, who's saying that?
I don't want to throw Jesse, Galena, and Casey under a bus.
Yes.
But
let's throw them right under the bus.
Yeah.
I love, by the way, that like Marty's like a lot of dumb things get said. Let me say something that will make you even angrier than what we just began with.
No, those are. I've been on streams where those words have been said, and I'm like, I don't even know what to say right now. I literally don't even know what to say right now.
That's the thing. I personally think that Citizen Kane is one of the most important movies to what we now consider modern cinema, and is boring as hell.
I was about to say, let's hit the
I
turn.
find it insanely watchable. I think it moves. Okay, all right. And this is me who doesn't necessarily love 1930s and 1940s cinema as a rule. I'm one of those boring ass guys who's like, cinema sucked for a little while when they forgot how to move the camera after they introduced sound, you know?
Yeah.
But like I love Kane just moves. I find Kane like has an energy and like every shot in Kane is good, and so you have like no matter what the film is doing, it looks great while it's doing it, and that goes a long way for me towards forgiving any slowness that it may or may not have.
And like I'll agree with that. I think every shot looks good, but I like then give me a silent movie. I just think it's very boring. And that's okay.
I would also accept a silent movie.
Jack, you just don't get it. His
Jack
sled
is
was
like,
called
could this
Rosebud.
be Hundreds of Beavers? I could be watching Hundreds of Beavers instead right now.
Hundreds of Beavers several times
Instead of a movie with possibly zero beavers.
That long.
It feels like it's 8 hours long. It's so long.
Is it even 2 hours?
I don't like Citizen Kane. I respect it. I understand its importance, and I think its importance should be touted. And anyone who is seriously into the academic side of film needs to watch it and appreciate it. But that doesn't mean you need to enjoy it.
What do you think about Jaws?
I think it's highly enjoy. As somebody who has watched a bunch of stuff that I do feel I have to watch and don't enjoy, I really enjoy Citizen Kane. Like, I'll give you Tarkovsky. Tarkovsky's a bit of a drone to sit through.
All right.
But like, the chief film critic of the Irish Times did not like me when I said that. But the Citizen Kane I find really watchable. It's one of those movies. It's like The Apartment. The Apartment is another one of those movies where I feel like you could watch it today and it's accessible and fun and easy to watch.
I saw The Apartment for the first time last Christmas, and I thought it was wonderful.
Beautiful, isn't it?
Absolutely wonderful.
Yeah. And like such a modern concept as well, because you're not, well, or at least when I first saw it, wasn't used to the idea. I didn't know that sex existed when they made black and white movies.
Oh,
I still don't know where babies come from. So
yeah.
Oh,
I was like, they discovered sex by the time this movie was made. But it's a very modern concept of a sex comedy. It's really, again, just incredible performances and lots of passive aggressiveness towards television. It's always nice when you're watching a movie from 1960 and you're like, what is Hollywood really angry about right now? And it's television.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And to answer the first part of that question, we are actually watching. The plan is we will be doing our monthly movie night. We've been doing it. We've been pretty darn good about doing it monthly. Sometimes it's a little later in the month. But we will be doing our monthly movie night for anyone who is a Phoenix tier patron of Second Wind. We have a live screening of a movie, and some of us contributors are there to kind of talk over and goof and spoof and have fun watching a movie. We've decided we're going to watch a good movie, and it will be full of things.
Yeah.
Oh, is it a single thing, perhaps?
Possibly.
A definitive thing?
Possibly.
It could be one singular thing.
Yeah.
Listen,
a definitive article, you might say.
I'm just saying, this is the movie that taught me, listen, we should just kill the dog. Maybe things would be better if we just killed this dog.
Yes. Legally, I don't know if we're allowed to say exactly what the movie is, but it could be have several things or one singular thing.
When you need a craftsman, call a carpenter.
Ah, that's so good.
Exactly. We'll see what we can rustle up watching that movie.
What if we end up tricking him when we watch that thing, like the Thing Origins or whatever the thing was?
You do.
No, that thing you do.
Tom Hanks.
That would be really. I love that
directorial debut.
First of all, that's a great movie. We should watch
it.
It
is. It's a lovely movie.
What was didn't they make like a Thing prequel with Mary Elizabeth Winstead?
Yes, just called The Thing as well.
Yeah,
the most starting that trend of horror sequels and remakes that are just the title of the original movie, making internet searching incredibly difficult.
Not just horror. That's video games. We made 3 God of Wars, and then we made a 4th one, and we called it God of War. They were like, well, how am I supposed to Google this?
Right?
Well, the thing about The Thing, or the thing about the prequel to The Thing, you know the story. They used practical effects. They had practical effects for the film.
Okay.
And they designed them all, and they had them all used, and they made the movie. And studio executives, when they saw the finished cut of the movie, were like, that's terrible, just replace it all with CGI.
Listen, I'm not saying...
And so it looks horrible.
I'm not saying bring out the guillotines, but we might need to bring out the guillotines.
I mean, okay, so as we're going through spooky movies and as my children get older, I watched The Thing with my children who are 16 and 13. Because it's like, okay, you're old enough to handle The Thing. There's a great spooky movie, really, interesting. And they've played a lot of the video game Among Us. And so I thought it would be a good thing. And what they both commented on how silly the effects were, because a lot of them are
practical and models and
they look silly. And that's fine. I think it's fine. They're wonderful. I love all the goop, but they're like, oh yeah, the effects were kind of silly, but the story's so good. It was so tense, and I was like, hell yeah, it was. So in any case, as we talk about this movie, unrelated, we are going to have our Phoenix tier movie night the 30th, which is next week, Wednesday.
Yeah.
At some time. We're still figuring that out. But so it'll be a good spooky Halloween movie night, which will be a lot of fun.
Yeah. We also want to, some month we promised we're going to coordinate with you, Darren, to try to get a time that would work for you to where you can. Because I know a couple of these, like this one will probably be later at night, which obviously does not work for you. But we would love to get you on.
And also, I'm at a Cillian Murphy movie. Yeah, is it Little Things Like These, the Magdalene Laundry movie, which I'm sure will be a barrel of laughs.
Sure.
Cillian Murphy exposes the rot at the heart of Catholic Ireland.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's the feel-good movie of Halloween.
Just as fun as the thing. Just as fun as the thing.
Yeah, just as much fun. As many practical effects.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, beautiful. Sir George Lucas says spooky movie talk Antichrist, starring Willem Dafoe.
The movie where they had him nude, and they said that his penis was so alarming that they had to use a prosthetic, and they've never gone into depth by what they meant by that. And let me tell you, that's the one thing I want to know is like, what's the deal with Milwaukee's own Willem Dafoe's penis being quote so alarming that they needed to use a prosthetic?
Have you seen the movie? Like, he masturbates blood, and it's like the fact that they're saying that the penis that didn't masturbate blood was the alarming one.
This is
like,
what Lars von
going on there?
We found Lars von Trier's boundary where he's like, this is a little too much for me, guys.
It's like Arnold Palmer. Size.
Oh, no, God.
Sorry.
Arnold Palmer size.
American politics are great.
Yeah, it's really, what a great time to be in America.
Oh man,
Sorry.
Just a couple more weeks.
And then maybe 4 more years.
Oh!
No. Everybody, just make sure if you're in the United States, you're registered to vote. Go to vote. It's going to be please. The True Mandalorian. Thank you for being a member of the Tip Jar for 9 months. We appreciate that support.
Thanks, Mando.
Let's see here. Sir George Lucas over in Twitch. I will not be doing Spooky Lords of the Fallen. Jess Hoops and I are gonna roll through Lies of P, as basically a lot of our streams this month have been taken over by spooky streams, and so my guess is that will start up in November when we have less spooky streams. But
yeah,
Jess
I think
Hoops
it'll be probably in that same
Lies of P.
slot, and we'll do it when Jay's rolling through Resident Evil 7. I think we're like halfway through Resident Evil 7, so when we finish Resident Evil 7, we can pass that baton off.
Yeah,
I'm excited
so
to see. Excited to see you give Lies of P the old college try and see if you like it.
We're gonna give it a real try. Jess Hoops is our resident Lies of P expert, so she's gonna help guide me through the game, and we'll see if we can find some cool stuff in there. Sovereign, thank you for the YouTube super chat. Since I can't think of anything anything more interesting to ask, what are some of your favorite horror movies in general? My favorite is probably John Carpenter's The Thing. Oh man, what a great movie! So full of
Oh man,
if only people were watching. If only there were an occasion where we could come together and talk about how great that movie is.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like I most of my favorites are the boring favorites, like the Thing, Halloween, The Shining. Like I love the old Universal monster movies.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, I love the new wave of your like we brought up Hereditary earlier, Midsommar, The Witch.
The Witch.
Yeah. I saw Smile 2. I thought it was pretty good. I
had a good time with Smile 2. Like it's fun that like this guy is just like, I'm gonna make Smile movies and they're gonna be like references to things that I like. So it's like, can I do a long take action sequence? Well, I'm making a Smile movie, so I guess I'm gonna do a long take action sequence in a Smile movie.
Definitely felt like a step up.
By the way, like have fun while you can. Like, guess what? We're gonna try to have some fun with this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, again, very similar to Is It a Happy Death Day to You has similar energy, where it's like this is they've given me this much money to make a sequel, so I'm just gonna do what I want to do with it, you know. The evil version of that is Joker Folie à Deux, to be clear, but there is something kind of fun in like being like the opening sequence of Smile 2 is incredible, which is just this long take oneer involving Kyle Ganner. And I want to shout out, I saw Strange Darling today. Great. Oh, nice. Great movie.
Yeah.
Really great movie. Yeah. Very, very effective what it does in terms of genre. But like the opening sequence of Smile 2 is a long take action sequence involving a raid on a drug house. And you're like, this is not how I expected a sequel to a movie about the literal idea of horror as trauma to open. Yeah. But it's incredibly fun, you know?
That's great. That's great. I watched, like I've been thinking a lot about kind of like the horror comedy, as that's what I'm trying to this year as my kids get older and older. I'm showing them more and more horror movies, and I've been leaning a little bit more into like, now that you know horror, here are some horror takes. Like I'm thinking like
here's the way you can do it.
Versus Evil.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of Cabin in the Woods, Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, these are wonderful, still like very good horror movies, but also like a level of reverence and brevity in the horror genre.
Yeah, that's great.
Which are all fun horror movies for the season. Pure Pyro, thank you for the super chat. Have you guys seen Hannibal Rising?
For my sins, I have. I've forgotten most of it. That's the one Hannibal movie. The one Hannibal movie that doesn't star Anthony Hopkins, right?
Was that the prequel?
The prequel starring Gong Li is like his aunt, who teaches him cannibalism, which is an important life skill to learn, and just raises more questions.
We all had a cannibal aunt. Who amongst us?
I think that's a Midwest emo band, Cannibal Ant.
Cannibal Ant?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I don't remember it being very good. And I will say that somebody who has a soft spot, who can even like quite enjoys like Brett Ratner's Red Dragon as like the most vanilla adaptation of the book imaginable. Like it's great that there are 3 adaptations of like Red Dragon, which are so fundamentally different from one another. And like Brett Ratner's one is the one that you show your gran.
Yeah.
It's the one for like it's the CSI adaptation of Red Dragon.
Yeah.
And then there's like Manhunter, which despite starring the star of CSI, is this incredibly like stylistic kind of atmospheric one. And then there's the Brian Fuller adaptation of the final season of Hannibal, which is just like I don't know, Grand Guignol kind of opera of an adaptation. So I like that there are 3 different adaptations of like Red Dragon, but I did not care for Hannibal Rising, and I did not read the book. I read all the Tom Harris books apart from Hannibal Rising, because I think he openly said that was a contractual obligation, if I remember correctly. It was like if he didn't write it, somebody else was going to, I think was the pitch. Very similar to like Lana Wachowski with The Matrix Resurrections. You know?
Yep. I'm gonna make it, and I'm gonna make you regret me making it. It's great. True Mandalorian, thank you for the YouTube super chat. Loved your Predators 2 250 podcast. Can't wait for Alien 3. What movie have you seen most in theaters this year? Mine is Deadpool. Sorry, I loved it. First thing, True Mandalorian, don't apologize. If you find something you like, don't apologize for it. You like it. Great, good for you. Just because we didn't doesn't mean you're a bad person.
There are plenty of movies that we like that other people don't as well. Like it's grand, and it's fun to have those conversations as well.
Absolutely.
Like it was great fun for me to talk about how weird it was that I think people don't enjoy Citizen Kane. But I think like this, it feels like the most obvious Darren answer imaginable, but it's Dune Part 2. Sure. I saw Dune Part 2 8 times in theaters.
That is so
I saw it in 4DX. I saw it in IMAX. I know.
Saw it in a desert.
Every format. Like David Bautista smells good in 4DX. It's weird. Because you could tell that like they're like he needs to smell the Harkonnens need to smell like something, but we also don't want the audience to be smelling something unpleasant in an experience they paid for. So he has kind of like a cinnamon kind of, again, like you would imagine Dune itself smells like, but like a cinnamon kind of, motor oil kind of smell to it, where it's, you can tell it's meant to be industrial, but it's also like an air freshener. It's very interesting. I had a very good time with it. Dune Part 2 is the one I've seen most in theaters this year.
I think Dune and Furiosa
are you're playing Super Mario 64.
I am because
you died.
No, I died, and I'm going to go straight to the scary level. So this is still going to be a Halloween
very
thing.
Good.
This is still going to be a Halloween thing, don't worry.
I remember Mario 64.
And now I'm worried, because this is going to be like GoldenEye, where you just know the game a lot better than I do, and you're going to like mock me.
Yes, do it. Lucas says, in The Hobbit, there are 3 armies, the Elven army and the Men army against the Dwarf army for the gold. But before that happens, an army of pissed off goblins and wolves appear to avenge their king, whom the heroes killed.
Okay.
So those are the 5 armies.
The titular 5, if you will.
Goblins and
wolves
are much better than 2 orcs.
Are goblins different than orcs? Is that racist?
I think they're used synonymously.
Yes, goblins and orcs are used similarly. Orcs are different than Uruk-hai.
Sure.
Yeah, the Uruk-hai are the ones they dig out of the ground, right? They're the fallen elves,
the mud boys, right?
Or something.
They're the ones that are birthed in the Lord of the Rings. Correct.
Yeah, they're the ones that are like horny. The movie is horny for them.
Yes, the movie's very horny for them. Whereas I want to say that
they're putting meat back in the menu, if you know what I mean.
Oh yeah, the meat menu. Boys.
Orcs are like, or were once men, but Uruk-hai were once elves, if I remember my lore correctly, which I do not.
just warning y'all, don't know anything.
No, I don't know anything. Sir George Lucas says, Darren, we need you to settle the oldest debate. Is Neo versus Agent Smith mega fight in the Matrix Revolutions good or awful? You get to be the judge. Matrix Resurrections was great, by the way.
The burly brawl, baby. It's one of those things where it moves the medium forward so much so you have to say it is objectively good, even if maybe they weren't necessarily at the stage where they could pull it off. It's one of those. There are other similar examples across the history of cinema where they don't get it quite right, but they have to do it in order. Like it's like when Pixar did that animation of a baby, and it was monstrous. And it's like nobody should ever see that, and you should probably never release it. But it's important.
But this is important.
In moving the standard of the medium forward and allowing like leaps to be made later on. I do think it's fun. I actually I quite like the Mega Smith brawl at the end of the third movie.
Yeah.
You have 3. I prefer that to the Burly Brawl in the second one because I
Oh,
remember
really?
the press of the Burly Brawl was like, this is gonna blow your mind. It's gonna be like, do you guys remember much of the hype around the movie being there's going to be a brawl where he fights hundreds of Agent Smiths?
Well, yeah, and them saying like you'll never be able to tell when it goes from Keanu to the thing, and
to
like,
a
well,
CGI.
It's actually very obvious. Whereas at least in the third movie, it's like these are just action figures. Like,
yes, yeah. So my take is like in a grand macro level, good. In the specific instance of the movie itself, maybe less good. But
I like that. I think that's a fair take.
Yeah.
I think that's a fair take. That's very similar to my Citizen Kane take, so I will accept that.
What is the Matrix Reloaded but the Citizen Kane of
modern cinema? I love that. Fungus Finder says, Jack, have you done something with your hair? I'm assuming that's when I was replaced shortly by a skeleton. Fungus Finder also says, Darren, what percentage of existing movies have you seen?
Probably somewhere in the region between 0.5 and 1, I reckon.
I was going to say far less than 1, probably. Yeah.
Far less than 1, yeah. Far less.
Do you all realize how many movies are made every single goddamn year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, even that's the same thing even with games. Like someone like Yahtzee, who's reviewed 2,000 games. I feel like that still scratches the surface of how many have been made.
Oh, even if you count like the Yahtzee tries where he gives micro reviews, no, he's nowhere near 1% of all games. yeah. It's ridiculous out there, y'all.
Like I see 400 movies a year, and I still don't see everything that releases in cinemas in Ireland. Like, and that's ignoring streaming. That's ignoring theaters in America. That's ignoring direct to video. And that's ignoring all the movies that existed before I was born and before I started doing this professionally. So like the pool just keeps getting bigger.
There's no catching up with this.
No. I made my peace with it.
That's great. Lazarus Orange says, I literally just finished watching Drag Me to Hell, underrated film. Ooh. I had a lot of fun.
I like Drag Me to Hell.
Love Drag Me to Hell. And he's making a new one with what's her face, Christine Taylor, Rachel McAdams.
Oh,
apparently Raimi's working on a new movie with Rachel McAdams, which I'm very excited about.
Oh yeah, who I guess they worked with on Doctor Strange, right?
Which I do love. I love that being the thing that he took from Doctor Strange. It's like, really like working with Rachel McAdams. I should do that again.
Yeah. Bad experience with Marvel, good experience with. Well, I don't know if he had a bad experience.
He also
it seemed like it went well enough. Yeah. Well, yeah, Raimi's. Sorry, go ahead there, Jack. Sorry.
I was just gonna say, I also think he's coming back for another one. So.
Yeah, they say he was kind of rumored to possibly do 3.
Yeah. And I think the thing with Raimi is that, again, I don't like a lot of his later movies. I will say I like Multiverse of Madness a lot. Yeah. But, like, I really, obviously, very few people will stand up and defend Oz the Great and Powerful as a masterpiece.
You're not going to do that, right? And you're like, and you stand up from your chair right now?
Yeah, and I'm like, somebody has to say it. But, like, Raimi is, having learned his experience, presumably from the Spider-Man movies, is a good company man. Yeah. Like, he's not somebody who's going to cause trouble. He will figure out how to do what he wants to do within the confines of giving the studio what they want. Which is why, like, for all that everybody's like, well, I didn't like Multiverse of Madness. Why are they bringing Raimi back? Or, like, how are people so pleased with Multiverse of Madness, even if it, like, sabotages the character of XYZ? And the answer is, it's very simple. Kevin Feige didn't have to stand over Sam Raimi's shoulder and go, like, pixel by pixel through the movie. Yeah. He could give Raimi notes, and Raimi would integrate them while still doing something what Raimi wanted to do, and understanding that this is the way that it works. So, like, yeah, I'm not surprised. I would not be surprised if Raimi did do 3. Honestly, I kind of wish he were doing, like, Secret Wars or Doomsday or whatever.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But, like, I also understand why he's not given some of the online reaction to Multiverse of Madness. The moment where, like, Robert Downey Jr., who they paid $80 million to, shows up for a single scene and gets his head exploded graphically.
Right.
Yeah, like...
That'd be great.
Sam, we have some notes.
Snake in the Garden says, Darren, have you seen Rivals TV show yet? Is it good?
Rivals, why does that sound familiar? Let me just Google it and be sure. Okay. I'm guessing I haven't, but I feel like the name is familiar.
Yeah, the name doesn't sound familiar to me.
Yeah, I have no idea. I'm sorry.
Oh, this is the horny soap opera with David Tennant on Disney Plus. I have not seen it. I've gotten lots of mails about it. Oh wow! Like it is very. I'm just looking at the pictures. It's very horny. It's a very horny soap opera, like right. Dallas, but with David Tennant. And like there's he's got like a hunting gun over his shoulder. It's like it's basically what if Downton Abbey fucked. It seems like is the general vibe of Rivals. Yeah.
I like it.
That's a great question.
Yeah.
I've wondered.
So I have not seen it. Yeah, I've been asking myself that question for months.
over the past few days, the kids and I just because we don't necessarily, they have school and whatnot, so we don't have time for movies. We've been watching our favorite spooky Doctor Who episodes.
Ooh.
Including last night we just watched The Impossible Planet and The Satan Pit.
Nice.
Great spooky episode.
Blink's the one with the
speaking
with the
of horny
statues,
David
right?
Tennant.
Blink is the one with baby Carey Mulligan and the statues that move.
Oh, the statues that move.
Yes, Blink is a great.
Oh, that's Carey Mulligan.
Great
it is
Carey
indeed.
Mulligan?
Yeah, that was her baby Carey Mulligan.
Oh.
Baby.
Yeah.
My favorite rapper, young Carey Mulligan.
Literally the last moment before she became ungettable. Yeah.
Let's see, where are we here? Lampy88, lots of things. Jack, you can't make the Discord watch Exit to Eden. Oh, you just watch me. I will do a bait and switch.
I will turn this car around and we will watch Exit to Eden.
You will not like it. John Blay Wombly says, thank you guys. It might not come across, but I friggin' like you just gabbing. I mean, we obviously do.
We're just gabbing.
We like gabbing as well. Yeah. Alex over on YouTube says, love the stream. I just rewatched Shaun of the Dead with friends, and I love that it still holds up. Absolutely. I don't always like the way that, oh, crap.
Nick Frost.
What is the name?
Nick Frost, Simon Pegg, Edgar Wright.
Edgar Wright. I don't always like the way that Edgar Wright tells his stories as a director, but I always think he is a phenomenal director.
Hot Fuzz is a masterpiece. Like I love Shaun the Dead, 100%. But Hot Fuzz is like, for me, the pinnacle. One of my favorite comedies ever made.
Absolutely. Abso-fucking-lutely.
One of the great cases for Timothy Dalton as one of the great unsung talents in modern cinema.
It's such a good Timothy Dalton performance.
You should arrest me. I'm a slasher of prices.
No, it's beautiful. Absolutely a beautiful movie. Both Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead. Yeah.
And he unironically does Gone Girl, doesn't he, as well? Where it's like, I'd love to crack her skull and see what secrets tumble out. When you unironically Gone Girl.
Right. Let's see here. Where are we? Jason Tudor, another unseen Halloween movie recommendation, 2013's Proxy, a low-budget, dreamlike, and totally wild throwback to Rosemary's Baby.
Oh, I've never even heard of that.
Nor have I.
Fun fact.
Fantastic.
Interesting.
I actually rewatched Rosemary's Baby recently because obviously the prequel came out. Still holds up, and I know obviously there are reasons you may not want to watch a Roman Polanski horror movie.
Sure.
Yeah.
But it is understandably a very effective and very unsettling movie even today, which is great.
Yeah. Good. Good. You know, there are so many. That's the kind of the lovely thing about this season is like, if you are a horror fan in general, start digging through some of the movies that you didn't get around to seeing. I finally, what was it? I finally watched at the beginning of October, knowing that it wasn't a full horror movie, which was, a Malignant.
Oh, yes.
And tell me you didn't know anything about it.
I went in spoiler free. And there was a couple people who, before I watched it, I was like, oh, you know what? I think I'm going to watch Malignant tomorrow. And they're like, oh, man, the twist. You're going to love it. And I mean, obviously, it's a horror movie. I assumed there was going to be a twist. I mean, it's a really dumb twist, right? Like,
You know, I don't think it's scientifically plausible, Jack. No. I'm not like...
Oh no! Even like the visuals of the twist are really dumb and obvious, right?
I mean, you say that as if those are bad things, but yes, like.
I mean, very fun movie, a very silly movie, but like arguably a horror movie.
Like it's very much it's giallo. It's very heavily influenced by giallo. That kind of that Italian style. The thing I remember is my sister over in Australia watching it and like texting us as she was watching it, and like me being like, this is great, and somebody said there's a twist, and I said there's a great twist, and she texts me during it and says, oh, well, it better not be, and then she spells out exactly what the twist of the movie is going to turn out to be as she's watching it, and I'm like, well, I can't say anything. There's no way for me to reply to that tweet.
Exactly, and but I say this with a lot of love because it is a very fun movie. Like it's like 20 minutes of a pretty good horror movie and then a schlocky action movie, which are two things that I really like. But
it has an asylum with like a parking lot over a cliff. Like, what more do you want? Like, that shot, I was like, I am in.
From an asylum.
Yeah, like right over a cliff. It's like just on a cliff face. Please park your car on the cliff face and come to visit the psychiatric institution.
Yes. Yes. And so, like, but I guess, like, what the point is like, this is the time of year. Pick a movie that you have not seen. Obviously, like, watch the movies that you love, but pick a movie that you haven't seen a million times and try something new for spooky season.
Can we recommend The Empty Man?
Oh, The Empty Man's incredible. Yeah, I love The Empty Man so much.
If you can get your hands on The Empty Man, fucking do that.
Is that not on Disney Plus? Because it's a Fox movie. I don't know for sure. I shouldn't say that.
The idea of being able to pull up The Empty Man on Disney Plus is very funny to me.
Yeah.
I actually don't think it is.
Okay, interesting.
The Empty Man was on HBO Max, but pulled from HBO Max.
Yeah.
Because it was too intense.
It was just too good.
No.
Good. They couldn't handle it.
David Zaslav was getting there with the Clippers.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
Got to destroy something.
Yeah. You can watch it via Hulu.
Thank you.
Okay, that's where it is then, because of the Fox production. But it's great. It's David Pryor, who I believe did a lot of like added stuff for David Fincher, right? He was like one of the guys that Fincher would hire to do like his DVD extras and stuff. And yeah, just a gorgeous movie, very Carpenter-esque and very Lovecraft-esque as well. Like, so it has that like perfect intersection. Yeah,
it's one of those movies that manages to fit 6 different horror movies inside of itself, and each one getting creepier than the last. It's absolutely beautiful.
And I think somebody in the chat mentioned Take Shelter, which is the Michael Shannon movie from Jeff Nichols, which is very, very good. Also want to shout out Midnight Special as well, which I think is underseen, which is kind of like the best Superman movie Michael Shannon's been in. Sorry, that was cold of me. I apologize.
Oh, no.
I should not.
You don't have to apologize. I think he would agree as well.
But I say that as somebody who is fonder of those movies than most people are. But yes, Midnight Special is still the best Superman movie that Michael Shannon's been in. Why are you killing small baby dinosaurs?
Some Kong. What are you talking about?
Okay.
Don't you know about Kong?
Canonically hates dinosaurs.
Yeah, Kong
I
hates
know, but
dinosaurs.
they're babies.
Maybe Kong is just so large that these are regular-sized dinosaurs.
Fair. And for all I know, that's Dinosaur Hitler you just killed.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
If there's one recurring theme, I didn't get far enough in Mario 64 to kill the baby, but kill baby Bowser.
Let's see here. Thank you for the super chat. $1 per. With $13, $1 per Darren pun. I think, I'm not sure the exact number since tracking these, was a fool's errand.
Yeah, when you walked away, the puns started coming real hot and heavy, and I was like, "Oh, so Darren, you're to blame for this. It's not."
They were a real spine of the discussion. Well, when we tagged in the skeleton crew.
Can I just leave? Can you guys just shut the stream off when you're done?
Listen, puns are a very important part of Darren and I's love language. This is us telling you.
That's true.
Some people it's physical touch. Some people what the big love languages are physical touch.
Gifts, little gifts.
Acts of service is one, and for Darren and I, it's puns.
Puns, yeah. I mean, look, I do want to say that the donor was very generous. I feel like we couldn't ask for any femur more than. No, I couldn't get there. I'm sorry. I feel like I let everybody
Jesse
down.
Pinkman screaming, he can't keep getting away with this.
He can't keep getting away with this. Have you seen the Walter White anti-littering video?
Yeah.
Which is just great.
Yeah.
No, I think we always appreciate these YouTube tipulas.
Nice.
I'm gonna assume that's a bone.
A tibula is a bone.
Okay, good. I don't know anything about bones. I never break them. Why do I need to learn them? I drink my milk. That's the thing. If you drink enough milk, you don't have to learn about both.
That's fair. That's fair.
I don't know that it works like that, Marty.
That's how it worked in my life. It's got me this far. It's got me to an impenetrable wall in a Kong game from last year.
Yeah, before you go out in the pitch, just chugging a quart of milk, being
like, everything will be fine.
Yeah. Nick Knoll, thank you for the YouTube tip. Says, hey Jack, just plowed through 500 pages of Wool last night instead of sleeping to avoid being shamed by my book club.
Excellent. That's the Silo book, right?
That's what Silo is based off of. Correct.
Oh wow.
Bought it when you recommended it on prereq 6 years ago. Brutal start, but great read. Oh, one of my absolute favorites sci-fi books.
Are you enjoying Silo?
Did you watch that?
There's a lot to like about it. As someone who really enjoyed the book, it's just going a little too slow for me. The movie's just going the series is a little too slow. It's like, pick it up, get to the good shit. Let's go. Okay. Season 1 of Silo is like 1/6 of the book, like 1/8 of the first book, and so it's like I just want more things to happen.
That always feels very kind of hubristic when like a streaming show is like, you know what, we have a book. We're not going to adapt one book a season like say Slow Horses does. What we're going to do is we're going to adapt 1/6 of a book for a season and hope that we don't get canceled for the next 5 years.
Right? And there's so much about Wool. Wool is also like, it has a very fascinating backstory in which the author Hugh Howey was kind of writing it very publicly. Had a blog where he was writing chapters and then using kind of a
feedback
fan, the fan community to help him edit the early chapters, which eventually turned into this great book, a great series, and a great author. I've read many of his books that I've very much enjoyed.
Very similar to The Martian. Did The Martian have a similar process, if I remember correctly?
I don't know.
Let me just check that, but I think it may have been written online initially.
Sure.
There's a great bit in this. This will get us back, I promise.
Okay.
Jason Schreier.
Do we have to get back?
Jason Schreier, the video game journalist, just released a book all about chronicling like kind of the rise and fall of where they're at now with Blizzard, the creators of Warcraft and Diablo and StarCraft and everything. So it goes through their entire history, and they talk about how at one point they had an artist working for them, and he was really good at his job, but he wouldn't commit to working unpaid overtime. So he'd be like, well, it's the weekend and you're not going to pay me to work, so I'm just going to go home like a normal person. And they said, he didn't last long at the company and he got fired, but he landed on his feet because his name is Andy Weir and he wrote The Martian, which ended up being turned into $1 billion movie.
And he wrote it on his blog. He did actually, again, he wrote it in real time on his blog. Yeah.
He couldn't be doing that if he was working on fucking Warcraft.
Well, maybe he could if he wasn't working overtime.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, we could have had a better Warcraft game and The Martian. Yeah. Right. So yeah, well, some interesting backstory. But yeah, for anyone, obviously, not necessarily a spooky, but if you enjoy sci-fi, if you enjoy future dystopia.
Also, I'll watch anything with Rebecca Ferguson. She's great.
Oh,
yes,
honestly, she's just fantastic.
Yeah.
Ugly Stupid Loser, thanks for the
Jack. You can't say that about our audience.
Also, Ugly Stupid Loser didn't say anything, so I just have to say Ugly Stupid Loser a couple times.
Ugly Stupid Loser says what? Got him.
The Hungriest of Hippos, member of the Tip Jar for 11 months. We appreciate that support. Doctor Who can be terrifying sometimes, Tamo. Look, there's as we were combing through all of the seasons, I'm starting to I was realizing how many of the episodes are kind of spooky adjacent. A lot of ghosts, a lot of vampires, a lot of devils and demons, and just terrifying.
Are you my mummy?
Are you my mummy is the greatest.
Yeah.
If I was to watch one spooky Doctor Who, what would you recommend? Preferably one that doesn't need any prior Doctor Who knowledge.
Okay, so is Blink probably the easy one to go with there?
Blink's the easiest one to go with. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
100% watch Blink. It's great.
Yeah.
It's great.
Season 3, episode 8, I think, or maybe episode 7.
Yeah. One of those.
One of those two.
You know the numbers.
Yeah.
It's Frima
Ajiman.
Ajiman.
Yes.
Thank you. Frima Ajiman is the co-pilot.
Companion. Yeah. With David Tennant.
No, co-pilot. I like co-pilot better.
Yeah, co-pilot of the phone booth.
Implies an equality that doesn't quite exist. It's great, actually. Like I love Adji, man, because she's the person who seems like it was just a job, where like she went from that to like Law and Order. Like she just bounced right off of Doctor Who and was like, no, I'm gonna go work with the Wachowskis now. Yeah. I'm gonna star in the UK version of Law and Order. I'm gonna be in the Kerry spin-off that isn't the and just like that.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Carrie, like the Flanagan that we were talking about earlier.
Oh, no. There are other Carrie projects.
Enter the Carrieverse.
Yeah, that's it exactly. She's like Batman. There are too many Carrie TV shows. But remember the Carrie Diaries? It was like an 80s prequel series to Sex and the City.
I'm going to tell you, I don't remember the Carrie Diaries. I'm going to blow your mind.
That's what I'm here for. That's my job.
That's
because I do remember the Carrie Diaries.
So I have to talk about it. Absolutely.
And now you do too.
Sir George Lucas says, Final Dono, I'm hosting a super rad Halloween party and I need 3 awesome spooky movies. What do you suggest?
So these are movies for a party.
Movies for a party.
Which are very different than just good movies.
Right.
Yes.
These are movies that, like can be good movies, but also need to be able to like be just picked up and watched while you're in the middle of a conversation or coming in and out of rooms.
Yeah.
Yeah. So presumably they need to be like good special effects movies. Like The Thing would be a great thing because everybody's already seen it, everybody's already familiar with it, and there's always something visually interesting.
Yeah, like every 10 minutes there's something rad happening. There's also just a bunch of hunks in the movie. People love hunks.
Here's my oddball recommendation, a personal favorite of mine, which I think will play very well at parties. Ernest Scared Stupid.
Ernest.
Putting that out there.
The importance.
Great Halloween movie. Great Halloween movie.
That's actually a good suggestion.
Yeah. So then we need a third one. So we have Ernest Scared Stupid. We have The Thing. What else looks like? Again, as you said, it needs to be accessible. It needs to be visually interesting.
Houseu could be a lot of fun. That is one that is visually out of this world, and I feel like people will just be like, "What the fuck are we watching?"
And it makes I bet say it makes as much sense if you're wandering in and out of the room as it does if you're watching it to a certain extent.
Great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because just for visuals, you could almost like choose like a Suspiria or like a Giallo, because you'll just walk by and be like, "Damn, that is a very good looking frame right there."
And presumably you're going to want people to be able to talk to each other while it's on, so you're not going to want it to be too plot heavy. So yeah, actually Suspiria is a great one.
Yeah.
Suspiria, Ernest Scared Stupid, and probably The Thing.
That's a great one. Here's a selfish recommendation. This is a movie that we watched on Best of the Worst, but has become a Halloween staple of mine, which is Hack-O-Lantern. 1988's Hack-O-Lantern, which is like slightly a rock and roll horror movie, slightly a psychological thing, slightly like a devil satanic panic movie. Really a beautiful Halloween movie, though, like a lot of great Halloween imagery. That because it's a so bad it's good movie, you can also just kind of pick up little pieces of that. I think is beautiful.
Also, I just really like the name Hack-O-Lantern, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, no, that's like half your premises there. It's like
exactly.
It feels very much like a like an Ed Wood thing. We already have the poster. You just write the script and make the movie.
Yeah. And I think it's a wonderful watch because theoretically, like we keep saying at Halloween parties, you don't want people to sit down and actually watch the movie.
Yeah, you don't want anyone to be like shushing people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why are you throwing rocks at that baby?
I'm sorry, was me killing them with my fists better?
I don't know.
I don't know either. I don't know where I was going with that. It was
kind of.
I love that this is mercy. I love that this is. Yeah, I love that this is mercy.
Yeah. I think that's beautiful.
I mean, I don't want to spoil.
He now has a ranged weapon.
I don't want to spoil an upcoming plot twist, but the dinosaur parent kills this character, and because this character is the parent Kong, and then for the rest of the game you play as the Kong
so it's a bit of a Last of Us situation.
This is absolutely the Last of Us. This is Joel Miller. This is Joel Miller of the Kong.
Yeah, see, this is again big boss baby vibes whenever I talk about games.
Yeah.
It's like I know 3 games and all of them are comparable to one another.
Also, Caitlin Dever did the No, Caitlin Dever's not in this game. That is not. She has better use of her time.
Kong. I like that for Kong specifically.
Like Caitlin Dever, a big Kong ad.
Yeah.
Nick Warden says, just dropping in because I can't watch live. Looking forward to the VOD. I'm betting it's quite humorous.
Nick Warden, you're all in the bounty box. Nick, you go sit down with me.
Nice.
Yeah. You're doing great. You're doing great.
No bones to pick with Nico. Yeah.
Oh no, Kong's stuck. Kong's not climbing anymore. Kong's broken. Oh man.
Have you just given? I would say, have you just given up, Marty?
No,
it's
this
like,
game.
I can't.
This game was the worst reviewed game of last year, and we're seeing some of it with this frame rate here of me trying to climb and it being unsuccessful.
There you go. You popped out of it.
Yeah, the game's pretty bad.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So this isn't a tie-in to the movie. Like, so this isn't like something you have to get out.
So
to meet,
tie-in
like,
to the movie actually released today. I haven't played it yet, but it is a game. It's set in the MonsterVerse, and it is Kong wreaking havoc on a city, but you are you're a human survivor, and so it is like a 2D survival game, and in the background is like Kong like wrecking shit. I don't know where it takes place like canonically, because I feel like Kong no longer wrecks shit. Or I guess you can just sort of set it
center space.
Yeah, or you can like set it in the middle of like any of the kaiju fights and be like, man, it really sucked for the people on the ground during this fight.
Sure.
Yeah.
You have to say, I love the energy of Kong in the multiverse, or the MonsterVerse, where it's just like, this is the Godzilla franchise now, and Kong is just kind of there.
Yeah.
Have you seen Kong, Godzilla X Kong? The New Empire. The fact that opens, like, it's not a great movie. I want to be clear, but this is not a blanket recommendation. But it opens with a sequence of like Kong going through his working day silently, where he has to kill a bunch of monsters. He has to come home. He showers under the waterfall to get the monster blood out of his hair. He sits down for dinner. He sits down for dinner and he realizes he needs to schedule a dentist appointment for tomorrow. It's so great. It's middle-aged King. Jack, this is not an exaggeration. This is the plot of the movie.
Yeah.
This is not like subtext. It's not like a metaphor. It's like, this is what the movie is.
I love it. No, I love it.
And I was like 5 stars for this movie right now, and it ended up at 2, which gives you a sense of how bumpy the rest of the movie was.
And then at one point, Godzilla curls up into the Roman Coliseum like a little cat.
Like a little cat.
Yeah.
There's a moment where like where Kong goes to, I think it's the pyramids in Egypt, and like he's got to get Kong on side to fight like the evil skull monkey down under or whatever it is, and like he just appears and Godzilla starts charging at him. And again, the CGI, the body language, the motion capture is so good. There's the moment where as Godzilla's charging at him, Kong kind of like shrugs as if to say fuck, like always with this guy, like this is just my life now.
Kong's getting too old for this shit.
Yeah, like he suplexes him into the pyramids, if I remember correctly, right?
I gotta see this movie.
You really don't, Jack.
You know what? I'll put it on during a Halloween party.
There you go.
Yeah.
Fungus Finder says, "No, what's really scary? Never-ending story."
Oh.
Yeah.
R.I.P. to the horse.
And the sequels, for different reasons.
Oh no.
Joe,
surprised they haven't rebooted that.
Honestly, that's ripe for millennial nostalgia.
Yeah.
Joel Rose says, Darren, I watched The Substance. WTF was AKT3.
The third act's amazing, and I don't want to say what it is in case people haven't seen it, but like it's it's a lot of people are being like, why is The Substance being submitted as a horror or musical to the Golden Globes? And the third act is the exact reason why that is. It's like an
comedy
like,
musical.
Yeah, it is a comedy. It is actually a comedy music.
Yeah.
But it's a go for broke sequence where like the movie is not restrained at any point, but in the third act it goes completely off the rails and just leans full tilt into what the subtext of the movie is. It's brilliant, and like the final shot of that movie is incredible. Marty, I assume you've seen The Substance, yeah?
Enjoyed it quite a bit.
Yeah,
final
like
shot's
not yet, but I'm looking forward to it. So,
the final shot of it is just incredible.
Oh, beautiful.
And so earned.
And so
pretty girls should always smile. Dennis Quaid, incredible. Dennis Quaid, honestly great in The Substance. I know Moore deserves an Oscar nom and probably won't get one, but Quaid is also great in The Substance.
He's a fine actor when he's not playing Ronald Reagan. It's
yeah. I mean, something about the embodiment of pure evil.
And he was also in The Substance. LOTR fan says, what do you think of the Netflix Castlevania series? I don't like gore, but I love it anyway. I haven't watched that. Marty, you're an animator. Have you?
I am
watched
an
the
animator.
Netflix
Yeah, I've
Castlevania?
watched 2. I believe there's 3 or 4 seasons. I've only watched 2 of them. I, as a Castlevania fan, I enjoy quite a bit. I do think the animation is a little lacking, which certain straight to Netflix things tend to be. But I think the second season is like a huge step up from the first season. So if you're a Castlevania fan or just like a vampire fan, I want to get some anime up in you. Recommended.
Oh, nice. Very nice. Nick Knoll says, Darren et al. In Bruges or the Banshees of Inisherin.
Inisherin.
The Banshees of Inisherin.
Ed Sheeran. The Banshees of Ed Sheeran.
Banshees of Ed Sheeran.
Yeah.
They're his backup group, right?
Yeah.
I will say it's in Bruges. Like I really love the Banshees of Inisherin, but In Bruges is like the Martin McDonagh's masterpiece. I think
In Bruges is also very. I
don't know if you'll
rewatchable. I don't know how many times I'm going to rewatch the Banshees of Inisherin despite enjoying.
I mean, you don't want to feel that crippling loneliness and darkness inside yourself being fed.
No, I could just do nothing and feel that. I could just exist and feel that.
Like, I remember, like, that is a movie where more people than several people came out of that movie opening weekend, because obviously it's a big movie in Ireland because it stars, Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson, and it's set in Ireland, so it was a big deal in Ireland. And a lot of people who went to see it were really angry at me afterwards, because they're like, I thought it was meant to be a comedy. I thought it was meant to be funny. Why do I have this crippling darkness inside myself now? I'm like, why am I questioning the nature of human existence? Why is living suffering? It's on. And I will say myself, the first time I saw it, I was like, oh, this is going to be a black comedy like In Bruges, because In Bruges is also quite dark and heavy and existential. But Banshees of Inisherin is, it's one of the grimmest things I have ever seen.
Yeah,
which is saying something.
All right. And then Fat Cock, for our final YouTube tip, says King Kong suplex Godzilla sold.
Listen,
that was
Fat Cock giveth and Fat Cock taketh.
Fat Cock taketh. That was one of the things. Like, that's the image that I constantly think of when you get to Kong versus Godzilla. Is just King Kong giving Godzilla a haymaker, just a big wad punch across the snout. It's like, that's all I'm here for. I just want them to fight on a battleship in the middle of the ocean. That's great.
Listen, we're simple.
I mean,
we're simple with simple needs.
Again, Marty mentioned not watching the Alien versus Predator movies. I will say the first Alien versus Predator movie has an extended 10-minute sequence exactly in the middle where the Predator and the alien just do wrestling moves on one another. Yeah. Where the Predator picks up the alien by the tail and just swings him around a room.
Yeah. And it's silly and fun.
Yeah.
Not good, but silly and fun.
One of the top 2 Paul Andersons.
Yeah.
Excellent. That
are they showing? Wait, is Kong having traumatic flashbacks? I'm occasionally paying attention to what's happening on screen.
Yeah, so
Kong is having traumatized memories of his childhood.
Kong's parent got killed by this dinosaur in an unwinnable boss fight. But let me tell you, that is marrying gameplay with story perfectly. A boss fight you can't win while trying to protect your child. Fucking Last of Us plays one Kong game.
I meant to say Last of Us, right?
Yeah. But thank you everyone who joined us today for this silly little catch up stream. What else do we have going on, Jack? What should folks check out? Obviously, Adventure is nigh. There's no stopping that train.
People have tried.
People have tried. Better men have tried and failed to stop that train.
And it cannot be. We are obviously continuing on with season 2. Very soon, it's coming up to the side quest. If you remember, side quest happens in the middle of season 2. And so obviously, just Adventures Now is going to keep on. We are edging closer and closer to having completed episodes of season 4, which will come out when these are all out, which is very unbearably exciting. For all of us. Hold on, I'm opening up our shared calendar so I know all the amazing stuff that is coming out this week. Obviously, tomorrow is Fully Ramblematic. Let's see here. And Firelink is tomorrow, as well as Yahtzee Tries live stream. Thursday, you and Casey are continuing your Metroid Prime.
Yeah, there will not be we will not be doing Resi 7 on Thursday because Jimate will be traveling later this week. We'll just be doing Metroid Prime. We might sneak in another day stream. Nick wanted to play there's a new Quiet Place game that apparently is you can play it where it taps into your microphone, and if you make noises, bad things happen, which I am now thinking about is probably bad in a stream where you need to be talking.
Yeah.
Bad, very bad in the stream.
Or very good. So
does it make you contemplate your mortality? Is it like a game where you Quiet Place Day 1's so much better than it should be.
It's really good. It is really good. Yeah. And we'll have a new Semi-Random-Matic, a new Dev Heads on Friday. Bunch of new Bite Size going up this week. We have a ton of edited videos this week. Nick just had his Unpacked on the future of the Halo franchise go up today.
Yeah.
We should have our big old roundup of Steam Next Fest demos that a bunch of us contributed to. So it just
absolutely
it just doesn't stop.
Oh, and next Monday, assuming there's no technical problems, next week Monday is our new Spooky Battle Masters.
Yeah.
So that's very exciting.
Yes, definitely themed in time for Halloween. We haven't said what the game is yet, but
Hollow themed.
Hollow themed. And of course we'll have a rewind next week. We'll have a new backdrop. Darren's always got his weekly columns over the weekend, so all that great stuff.
Great. Yes, so many great stuff for spooky season. Thank you all so much for joining us. This was great just to chat. I missed last week's rewind, so this to me was catching up, which I love.
There you go.
And we did help Kong work through his trauma. I feel like we've done a lot today.
See, he's like any healthy middle-aged man dealing with his trauma, just standing, looking at the horizon, not knowing what to do with his life.
Absolutely, I love it.
Excellent. So for Jack and Darren, this is Marty. Thank you all so much. Thanks everyone on YouTube, everyone on Twitch, anyone in the VOD. Have a wonderful rest of your days, and we'll see you all later. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Take care, guys.
Bye all.
Bye.